All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Wednesday, March 4th now, 2026, 1 o'clock Central Time. This is We Grow Wednesday, where we try to get together somewhere in the middle of that week to try to get over the hump, if you will, and maybe learn something, pull our heads out of the sand for a second and look around us and find out what's going on with our health and wellness. So if you could help us out, hit the like button. We have a very special show for you today, special guest. Luke from Riverview Road Apiary is going to be here, and we're going to be talking about bees, but not like we normally do. It's a little bit of an emergency alarming episode. So come on back, hit the like button. If you could help us out with that, we'll be right back after a little intro here, about 4 minutes and 50 seconds. We'll be right back, guys. Let's grow. Let's talk about it.
Scrolling through the noise, stories hitting hard, cutting through the void. Big Uck pulling strings, poison in the feed. What they're selling us ain't what we need. Posting articles, lighting up the screen, common struggle shared, know what I mean. Time to wake 'em now, see the hidden game. We grow Wednesday, hey, stop and look around. We grow Wednesday, plant it in the ground. Grow our own, break the chains, rise up strong. Knowledge in our veins where we belong. We grow, yeah, we grow. Every soul gotta eat, fuel the fire inside. But the cause of twisting truth, trying to hide. Processed lies on shelves, stealing our health away. New tech coming fast, showing us a better way. Community talking, sharing what we find. Self-sustainable minds, leaving change behind. Digging in the dirt or digging for the truth. We grow Wednesday, hey, stop and look around. We grow Wednesday, plant it in the ground. Grow our own, break the chains, rise up strong. Knowledge in our veins where we belong. We grow, yeah, we grow. No more blind, no more fed their lies. Hands in the soil, fire in our eyes. From seed to strength, we're taking control. Empower the body, empower the soul. Wednesday rolls again, gather round the feet. Health and wellness news, planting every seed. Growing food ourselves, growing who we are. Better versions rise, shooting for the stars. Big Food's empire cracks. We won't bound time. We grow Wednesday. Hey, stop it on Wednesday. We grow Wednesday. Hey, stop and look around. We grow Wednesday.
And we're back. We're back. I actually I'm going to share to a few more groups because this is an extra special, important episode. I try not to bombard the hundreds of groups that I'm in every day because I'm live almost every day. So, but today we're going to share it out wide as far as we can. Guys, if you're out there, we got 11 in the house now. Let's try to blow it up. Let's try to get as many people in here as we can because the topic is insane. I don't know the answer yet. All Luke told me was they're trying to ban beekeeping, and I'm like, holy cow! So we got to talk about it. We're going to start from the beginning here in just a minute. Of course, we got Tala with us. She's tagging and sharing away over there, and we've got Luke, who I've talked to many times. He's one of our sponsors on game night. Shouts out again. Thank you, Riverview Road Apiary. But today is a little bit different. I mean, I do like to have him come back once in a while and maybe catch up and see how things are going. But today is more of like an emergency meeting. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's got some more to fill in now than he did the other day. But first, let's say hi to Tala. I don't want to ignore Tala. I know Luke and I know Tala, but they don't know each other. So, you know what I mean?
Good morning. And Luke, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
It is a little bit weird to have
Um,
have this kind of thing. But go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, it interests me partly because I have a bee colony. So
Oh, nice.
they've been on my
Yes.
property almost as long as I've been here.
Okay.
And I've been wanting to get an actual hive box to see if I can get them into it.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
So you have a what do we call a wild bee
yeah.
colony?
Hmm.
All
But they're
right.
quite docile, thankfully.
They
Um,
almost all are.
yeah.
In all the years I've been doing this for 12 years, I've had one colony out of the hundreds. I keep 100 a year, and most bees survive in spite of me and not because of me. And
Nice.
I've honestly killed more bees as a beekeeper than I ever have my whole life otherwise.
Wow.
But I've had one colony in all of that time that was not nice. I never
Yeah.
did figure out what was wrong with them, and there's not much choice there other than to destroy that colony and start over. Because they kind of get crabby. So
Yeah. Mine
Have
only
you
get
heard of
testy
that?
when it's hot and if they're like disturbed too much.
Hmm.
But in all these years, which I want to say, mm, at least 15, I only got stung once. And it
oh, okay.
was trying to get a tarp over my kennels out there because I
Hmm.
rescue cats.
Yeah.
And there was one that I had acknowledged it's crawling on the tarp, and I accidentally brushed it and it got my arm.
Oh,
Just
oh
one
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was not even really its fault, right? Like you were brushing it away, and
Yeah.
it
It wasn't even, it was just like I accidentally brushed against it and it was like, hey,
yeah,
which of
yeah,
course then it dies. But
Luke
yeah.
sticking up for the bee. We're sticking
oh,
up
I
for the
am.
totally. I
bee.
agree.
Yeah.
I did encounter aggressive ones hiking in a botanical garden once, and from the
Okay.
behavior in my research, I believe they were Africanized because they came after us. It was,
Oh.
yeah.
It depends. It depends too. If somebody like kicked the hive, right, and they're crabby because somebody ran up and did something
Yeah,
to it.
no, we were
Yeah,
nearby. It was bad.
I am impressed that you know that these are honeybees in your backyard. I would say the majority of people I interact with, no idea. They can't tell the difference between a honeybee and a wasp and like yellow jackets. Can't tell. They
We
I
got
get
wasps
calls.
around here, like mud dauber type, that build little. And those I've gotten stung a couple times. That hurts.
Really, mud daubers do hurt, but I've never actually. I mess with mud daubers all the time. They're really good. They're pretty good pollinators, but they're really good insectivores.
Yeah,
So they kill a lot of pests in our.
yeah. I don't spray.
Yeah, they kill a lot of pests, and I've never actually been stung by a mud dauber. Yellow jackets, oh my gosh.
Do you think maybe you have this like you're around so many bees? Maybe you have like this smell the bees are cool with now. They're like, hey, he smells like one of us. I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm just
know. I
kidding.
don't know about
Half
smell.
kidding, but like,
I
you
think
know.
I
it's
think they pick up
mindset.
energy though.
Yeah, absolutely
Mm,
mindset.
mm.
If you are panicked around them, then they're going to pick up that you're panicked, right? I mean,
My
imagine.
colony's docile with me, but if
Yeah.
Jim goes out there, it's a different scenario, and he has to be careful because he's anaphylactic. So
Oh, okay.
Not sure what
So
Rose means here with desensitized to bees.
desensitized. Oh,
how do they do that?
so what ends up happening is if you do have anaphylaxis for bee stings. So honey bee stings are different than wasps. They're different venoms.
Mm.
But if you do have
Sweeter, right?
anaphylaxis,
I'm sorry.
yeah. If
I
you do
react
have,
badly to all of them, but I'm autoimmune, so yeah.
well, and I'm not a doctor, right? So I'm gonna tell you my experience with it. My wife is actually allergic to honeybees, honeybee stings. So she got immunotherapy. So basically, what ends up happening is that they inject you with a small amount of venom over a long period of time, and you are no longer reactive to that because of that. So she goes out still in my apiary, still goes out in the hives, has been stung, and now it's just a little welt that's left. So it's
Isn't it
really,
weird? Because, for example, if you're allergic and you get stung multiple times, it gets worse. And like me, because I'm venom sensitive and I have autoimmune disease, I have to be careful not to get stung too often because I could become anaphylactic. But the treatment is small doses of it anyway.
small doses. And it's
Yeah.
and they do observe you for about an hour to make sure that you don't have a reaction to it. But um, yeah, it's really not as bad as you think, and you might even actually ask a physician uh, if you can also do that process. It's really not very hard, other than it takes an hour. At first, I think the first one's like an hour every week, and then it changes to like an hour every month, and now and then I think it's like every other month that she gets injections, and then eventually she'll just stop.
See, I want to do something like that for my allergies. They kind of scare you though. They tell you, they say you can either take the medication, right, and then they paid by big pharma, or they say, well, you could take 5 years of shots. You want to do that,
Yeah,
and it's like, well, I don't know if I want to do that, So
yeah, but then you'll be immune to it, right? It depends on what you.
I
And
don't
it
get
really,
that crazy. Like a runny nose and I get sneezy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's
that's not
not
worth it then.
enough.
Yeah,
Well, but I do see. I mean, that's a side conversation, but I have seen people with some anecdotal stories of stem cells actually in the lungs and in the sinus areas to actually combat that much faster. Anyway, but back to the bees though, guys. I want to put it out one more time. We're just kind of BSing for a second, get some people in here because this is a very important episode. I want to give the floor to Luke to just let him tell us like the from the beginning of this. But hey, what's up, Joe? Joe, I want to make sure you have a bunch of indoor farmer coupons you can still use. I know you messaged me, said you may not be around, but you got some you can use. And then I want to I guess tease everybody. Do you have the door prize still today? So we'll do that. I'll pull up the wheel. I've already got it filling out here. But yes, if any part of my week, I don't normally try to push you guys to like and share too crazily, but today definitely going to push a little harder because this is very important. And it sounds crazy. Everybody I've talked to about this is like, well, why? And I was like, I don't know. You have to tune in to find out. I've had to say that like 3 times today. I was like, well, tune in to find out. My son has carry EpiPens. Oh yeah, Diane, highly allergic to bees. Yeah, I mean, let me ask you that,
Yeah, Jim has an EpiPen.
Luke. Has it always been a thing, or does it seem like how gluten allergies and all these other allergies are kind of popping up, but that aren't really connected to the thing? It's really connected to something we're using. You know what I mean? Chemicals or whatever else, glyphosate
I think it's
with
mostly that
gluten.
people just used to die if it happened.
so
Okay,
that's more true, right? Like so I'm going to give you some statistics just because I'm an engineer, right? And I
sure.
like stats. So 5% of the U.S. population is allergic to honeybee stings. And when we say allergic, people don't really understand what it means to be allergic to honeybee stings. Uh, and if you take a step back, and I'm talking about, sorry, I say honeybee, it's Hypenotra, all stinging insects. Sorry, the
Got it.
wasps and honeybees, they're all in the same family.
Oh,
So, and it wouldn't be a very good mechanism if it didn't work real well, right? So these things hurt, and they do you do have a reaction to it. But what people call allergic reactions aren't actually an allergic reaction to a sting. It's a reaction to venom. An
mm,
allergic reaction is when you break out full body hives, or you can't breathe, or you like your throat will tighten. That's actually an allergic reaction to honeybee stings. A
mm,
swelling in an area, like when I originally started beekeeping, my hand would swell up if I got stung in the hand. and that's a normal reaction to a bee sting. It's like a moderate reaction, but it's still well within normal. So when we talk about bee stings and people being allergic, about 5% of the U.S. population is allergic to stings, and then as far as children go, it's about 0.5% of all children are allergic to stings. So as you get to become an adult, your immune system develops, and it becomes more aggressive towards that sort of thing. Now you can develop an allergy to honeybee stings and to other other insect stings. That happens, right? Our allergies change as we get older, but it's still that 5% is still included in who's actually allergic. So I get told all the time by people, "Hey, I'm allergic," and you ask when you push about it, they're like, "Well, my hand swelled up, or my arm swelled up where they stung me, right? Or my leg swelled up," and that sucks. But that's a reaction to venom, right?
Mhm.
That's how venom works.
I always thought like when you get a bee sting, you're definitely going to get a bump, but I never thought of that as being allergic. Um,
You know what?
Oh,
Some people are like way less sensitive too, which
mhm.
I'm
yeah,
impressed with. For
yeah.
me,
So
it's a little more serious because I not only get, the obvious, little swelling, but I get muscle cramps, lethargy, quite a bit of pain and
yeah,
stomach upset. So I'm actually classed as venom sensitive. Yeah.
yeah. So the stomach upset, the lower blood pressure, that's an allergy. And that's when you have an EpiPen around, right? Even when you have an EpiPen and you use it, it's not really talked about, but you're supposed to bring that person back to the ER at that
To
point,
the
right?
ER, yeah.
Because you've injected uh, basically adrenaline into their system,
Yeah.
I've
and you
had
have
all
to
the
go.
instruction because, like I said, Jim has an EpiPen. I don't, but I
Yeah,
react to black widow, bee, wasp, all of them the same. And fire ants that's a whole different type of thing, but that is really painful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And actually, personally, honeybee stings still hurt me. I get stung all the time, and I don't swell up. I don't have any kind of react. Like I'll itch in that location maybe a day later, and I'll be like, I wonder why I'm itching there. And I'm like, oh, all right, I got stung. Um, but I don't swell up anymore. It takes about 50 stings for a beekeeper to stop swelling up, and
Mhm.
I'm
Better
kind of
you than
actually
me.
Wow.
I'm uh yeah. I see that Dahlia's note in
Gross.
here, and my guess is that
Hi, Dolly.
that was actually a wasp, because honeybees actually can only sting once before they die, and they
Mm,
tend not. So you'll have like 3 or 4 stings, but wasps can sting forever. They can just hang on you and sting you,
Yeah.
oof.
which is terrifying for me.
Yeah.
Probably because of their solitary nature. You think about a hive, it's the cold hard fact that the hive is like an entity, and so like
Yeah,
losing a few isn't that big of a deal to the hive. The
yeah,
wasp is solitary. It doesn't want to
yeah,
die. You know?
yeah,
Reminds me of when Luke was telling you were telling me the story of like if a mouse gets into a hive and they can't get it out, they just sting it to death, and then they just cover it with I don't know what the
propolis. Yeah,
yes, that's it.
propolis. Yep,
Yeah.
it's that time of year that I'll be going through my hives again and finding if mice snuck in there or not. It's
Oh, it's like a yearly thing. I thought
oh
maybe
yeah,
it's every now and then you find it. I see.
yeah, no,
That
because in
makes
winter,
sense. Yeah,
yeah,
and it's warm in there, even though we don't think of it as like a warm place. Yeah.
and there's food.
Um, yeah, and we've gone over a lot of that stuff. And guys, it looks like we got 27 in the house. Let's try to get to at least 30. But Luke, I mean, whenever you're ready, man. This sounds pretty heavy episode. It sounds like Tala is pretty like caught up on bees, so we don't have to go through a lot of the stuff you and I have talked about in the past. But I just want to find out what's happening, man. Chillicothe, it's a local. I just shared us into like the Peoria area Facebook group. I don't know if they're going to accept it, but I'm trying to push it as many places locally as possible. What happened? Give us the
So
rundown.
here's what happened. A lot of areas have had made bees not legal to keep in within the city limits, or depending on where they were outside of the city limits. The Chillicothe right now actually has an ordinance on the books that says it's not legal to keep honeybees within the limits of Chillicothe. Now, I'm actually my apiary it says in Chillicothe, but I'm actually outside the city limits.
City limits. Okay.
I'm in Medina Township. Uh, The only place in the city limits that can keep honeybees is the library. So the Chillicothe Library does have a hive. And I manage that hive for them too. And
Why do they get
it's
to have one?
because, well, so it's really interesting. So the librarian reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have this area. We would like to use it to teach people about our pollinators and honeybees and everything else." And I said, that's a really good idea. Let's go reach out and see what the ordinances say. And we found out, well, Chillicothe says, nope, you can't have honeybees. So we went there and interesting view on how politics work, made our argument, said, hey, we would like to have a hive on the Chillicothe Library property. We have a spot picked out for it. We'll do classes for people that are interested in bees, and we do classes every year at the library to talk about pollinators, not just honeybees, because pollinators are real important. We'll get to it later, I think, in the show. But that's like really that bees are like the gateway talk to pollinators.
Sure.
But anyway, so they passed an ordinance that said, yep, the library can have a hive. And then they changed, and it was supposed to be so that anybody in the town could come to town hall and say, hey, I would like to have a hive. This is where I'm going to put it. And and I'm going to take care of it according to state regulations. And then you could have one there. It turns out that they decided when I left, and they voted on the law, they changed the law and said, no, only the library can have it and nowhere else can. Now, this is not abnormal to our area. East Peoria is also, they're working on it. The Heart of Illinois Beekeeping Association is working on it. But East Peoria, it's not legal to have hives there either. Now,
I knew this about like livestock, but man, go ahead.
So they keep well, and it's a good point. Honeybees, realistically,
new.
It is. It's not new. It's really old. It's okay. Old. It's been in the books for a really long time. Just people haven't. It's one of those things that people ignore. It's like jaywalking.
Interest. Yeah.
Yeah, and now there's been growing interest in it. People have asked for it, or they look into it, or there's neighbors that are concerned that, hey, my kid's going to be out playing. Are they going to get stung by your bees? The hive's been there for years, right? And it hasn't stung anybody. It's just we get into a hypersensitive view. Fear, yeah, it's fear. It's fear. And I don't want to call it fear mongering, right? Because that's not what's happening, but it's a lack of information in the world.
It's got a spotlight on it currently. And if I would have been less surprised if I heard you say, well, there was an incident, so-and-so, kid, this and that, like something happened, anything. But
a causative factor, right?
Right, like something that made them look into it. But sometimes the truth is municipalities, like, they change, people change through, like somebody new might have happened to see this thing about this thing, and all of a sudden it becomes a thing, and it's like, who knows how it came up. It wasn't somebody probably who's been in there for many, many years. Like, what? Like suddenly changed their mind. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it just sounds like you have that come up once in a while. Like there was a law recently. I can't remember what it was. It was something really silly, and they were like finally like, okay, you don't worry about this one anymore. I think maybe jaywalking in some places.
Jaywalking is just one that
we unofficially stopped using it, but then I think somewhere they were like, yeah, okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I forgot where it was.
And my hive stays on the far side away from all neighbors. I'm at the end of a cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never settled next to any of the neighbors. It really, there's no place for them to. Right now they're in a block wall. It's the weirdest thing. So I'm not getting any benefit. I can't get at the honey. That's the thing. So if I get them in a hive, I'm still going to keep it on the far side because there's no neighbor over there against that wall. So, I'm just like conscientiously thinking, neighbor, I like them. I'd like to continue liking them. I want them to like me. They've got little dogs. I thought about that. So I have a spot picked out to put them that I know will not put anybody at risk, because I know that people, when they see one, they freak out, and then they create the problem, really.
Well, and realistically, most people, I would say a majority of people don't know what a beehive looks like. So you could have one on your property, and they're not going to know.
Oh, no one can even see in my backyard, so it's not.
Yeah, well, that's even better. And that's my point of view is if they're not, they can't see in your backyard. And the ordinance that I wrote, so I actually wrote an ordinance for the city, that outlines what the offset should be. This is how to safely keep bees. The Illinois has actually like 8 state inspectors that are really, really helpful. Super good people, really nice. You can call them day or night. They'll come out to your apiary. If you have a concern about it, and like your neighbor had a concern about it, they can call the state inspector, and the state inspector will come out and look at the hive to make sure it's not abandoned, right? Because you can't have an abandoned hive on a property. There's all kinds of things that they do. So there's a lot of rigor and a lot of um, already protections in place for people. And then I wrote a ordinance very close to Peoria actually has an ordinance that says all the things that you have to do to keep bees. It's really not that bad. And realistically, I have not ever heard of anybody complain about their neighbor having bees. I have bees outside my house, outside my window, because I like to watch them come and go. I do live in a neighborhood. I also have a dog. I have an English bulldog named Bee. She doesn't move fast. she she's stuck her nose in the hive, and they've tagged her in the leg, but it's not. But that's not. She was messing with stuff that she knew she shouldn't be messing with, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really affect them. It doesn't affect dogs and stuff like it affects people. Usually,
Probably like a little sting still, but not like a swelling and stuff.
Yeah, you'll see their muzzle swell up sometimes if they like snap a bee out of the air, that kind of stuff.
I suppose they could have an allergy too, though.
Oh yeah.
An individual dog could.
Technically could. Yeah.
Got a
Dogs tend to have
question.
less than us. That's all right.
Got a question on Facebook here from Dabby Langston. Hello, Dabby. She says, "Wow, never heard of that. Is that just your state? My neighbor has hives, and they drink from my koi pond. I get up and close personal videos with them. Seems they just wanted water. They got on me, never stung me. Pretty amazing videos." Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're still here, Dabby, but I'm sure every state has similar issues like this because municipalities typically want to ban things that that can cause, like, problems with the proximity of people. But I was just going to say something about it. What you guys are both describing is beekeepers. If you're going to go through the effort to keep a beehive, I would guess that if you had a list of all the beekeepers in the country, they're probably pretty responsible people. They're probably people who seem to care about something other than themselves. They're not just like, I want the honey, I'm just F the bees, I'm going to just treat them terribly. Like, you can't do that and still actually be successful with it. So it sounds like that's,
See, I also take a very natural approach. I'm so concerned about what was done to my property before I owned it. Because the people who had the house before, and we know this because Jim was friends with them, they saturated this place with weed killer. Well, I'm autoimmune, as I said. I'm sensitive to stuff. So the minute I got out there and started digging into old piles of leaves to clean up, I was sick as a dog, and it happened twice before I figured it out. So I have gone to great efforts to not use chemicals if I don't have to. And when it came to the colony, I noticed that they had shoot, I forget what it's called, but you can see some of them, they'll end up on the ground, like crawling around and they can't fly. The colony was sick. It had an infection.
It's called deformed wing virus. Usually that's what
Yeah.
that one is. Yep.
And some people will use, you know, chemicals to treat. My thing was hands off. Let them sort it out. And they did. They're healthy now.
Yeah, so they'll get replaced. Colonies. So deformed wing virus is this is a huge deep topic, but we've talked before. Waylon and I have talked before about like varroa mites, and varroa mites are like a tick. Actually, I have a little varroa mite. They look just like this. Why would I have a varroa mite as a beekeeper? Is because these are like our number one pest.
Yes.
These are our number one issue. And if you're varroa mite, they spread viruses just like fleas did, right? Bubonic plague, right? They were spread by fleas. These guys spread viruses. And so if their population, that mite population, gets too high in that hive, they can make that hive sick, and then that causes issues. And then eventually that hive will collapse. But nature does a really interesting thing, is that right after that, some moths will move in, and those moths will destroy that comb. And then usually after that, some cockroaches will move in, and they'll clean the rest of that up. And because that hole in that tree, or the brick wall in this case, still smells like home, another bee colony will smell it and go, "Oh, hey, this is a decent place to live," and
So they do have smell.
They do. Well, they have
Come
smell
on.
on their feet. They can
Sensors, yeah.
they're sensors, not smell like
Yeah.
we think.
I see. Well, I think of like a dog like imprinting on you. I'm like the bees imprint on the hive, but maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, so it
It
just
just
smells
seemed
like home.
like, in this case, like, they just like, the ones that were struggling did die off, you know, I mean, they
Yeah,
would, and it just recovered, which can
yeah,
happen, you
yeah.
know,
S-
and they move once in a while.
Yep,
I've seen
it's
them
swarm.
move from one spot to another on my property, so I think it's like, you know, this place needs to be cleaned up, let's go over here."
Yeah, that's actually their, if they're swarming, that's their actual natural reproduction. They take about half the hive. They take the old queen and they move. They vote on a place. They move out. They vote on a place to live, and then move to that place. The other half of the hive raises a new queen, which
Yeah,
allows for a break in that varroa mite population, right? Because they actually have to have bees to reproduce. So it allows a break in there, and that decreases that varroa mite population. So it's like a natural break from those pests.
I think
And
that's
that,
what I saw happen, yeah, it's
yeah,
really intriguing.
yeah, and that'll happen like 2 or 3 times a year. As a beekeeper,
Mhm.
your goal is to keep that from happening in by letting them do it, and then letting us do it for them. So we
Yeah.
go through and we'll create a break in there, and we'll
You don't want
move
your
an old
queen to
queen.
leave.
Yeah, or well, you can have a queen leave. I have queens where I move them to a new hive, and that's how I make new hives. And then I can either I'll sell the hive, or I'll just have that as a backup, because queens live about 4 to 5 years.
Okay,
After her first year, she uses basically 50% of the sperm that she has stored, because they don't mate all the time. They go out like 3 days earlier in their life, and they go out and mate. And ideally, they might mate like 20 times, and that's it. That's all they get for their whole life. And they have a thing
right.
called a spermazota that they keep all of that. It's a special actual organ in queen bees that keeps the sperm alive and healthy, and that's what she'll have that, and that's all she uses her whole life. And when she
It's
runs
really
out,
ama
yeah, when she runs out, they her smell changes, and they go, "Oh, okay, you're not fit to be here anymore."
Throw her
They'll
out.
they kill her, yeah, they kill her, and then pull her out, and they make a new one.
They don't
not
even
coming
they
back
don't
as a
even
bee in my next life, dang.
they
Yeah,
don't they don't even just throw her out. They have to kill her first and then
they
throw her out.
kill her, they sting her
Like
to death. Yeah, they'll sting
uh
her
We
to
are
death.
done with you.
Yeah,
there's really not there's not any job in the bee kingdom that I would want to pick. Like
uh-uh.
the queen sounds like the one you would pick, but it's not always fun either. You just stuck there making babies nonstop your whole life. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be at the entrance cooling everybody down.
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Just let me like an ancillary bee off to the. I'm just sweeping up off to the side.
absolutely.
We got some friends coming in on the Facebook, guys. If you guys could please, I appreciate you coming in. Hit the like button and share it out, guys. This is very important. I actually had some more questions about this because is there any possibility that they would change this? I mean, because with your with them like your consultation, I guess that hey, this isn't all that dangerous, and laying it all out on them. Like, what have they said about it since? Anything?
So I've gone to so the first one, the first ordinance that was put in for the library, I was there for that. I was asked to come back by a person in the community that said, "Hey, I'm interested in this. Can you come with me and talk to the board?" And so I did. I had a very positive, constructive conversation with him the first time. The next time I came back to get the ordinance looked at and pushed through was when much of the aldermen weren't there, and
Mm,
that's where I got the negative pushback. Right, there's
mm,
2 of the 8 that were there, and one of the 2 said, "No, I'm not for this," and had done a Google search based on, and then considered the Google search to be correct. Right, it's
right.
it's a it's a it's a trap that we have of, well, I've done a Google search for 10 minutes and now I'm an expert in this topic. Right,
Yeah.
and and uh and so that's the pushback I got back on this Monday at 7 p.m. for those that are joining that are from Chillicothe. And if you're not from Chillicothe and you just want to join and listen to how that process goes, I'm putting it back to the board and then talking to the board about what's going on, and uh, I've submitted a letter to the board so that they have to read it and put it into the minutes, including the ordinance in there. So yes, it's not done. It's not done. It's not cooked yet. However, uh, it is something that if it goes poorly, then yeah, it would be illegal then, except for the library, to have honeybees in the town of Chillicothe, which is strange to me, right?
Do they have some kind of a time frame for this? Like, is it just like, hey, we found this thing, we might fix it eventually? Like, they don't have any sort of, there's no urgency behind it, or what's the you know?
So the urgency behind it is they do have to vote on it if I put ordinance
I
to
see.
the town.
Once you can get it in,
Once I
okay,
get it in, then they can do it. But until then, they can't. So it would be the next meeting. So this meeting will be like a town hall meeting where I have a bunch of people coming. The next meeting would be to vote on whether the ordinance gets passed. So I have 2 more meetings to go to see if the ordinance gets passed the way I have it written.
when is that?
The second, well, I got to get past this first meeting. So this
Sure.
first meeting will be this next Monday at 7 p.m.
Well, that's what I mean.
Chillicothe.
Like because I've never really
And
been
then,
to a city hall meeting or anything. It might be interesting to make this one. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't live.
here,
Can I go there if I don't live there?
you can, yeah.
Okay.
And to be totally transparent, I'm a board member for the Medina Township, which
Okay.
is the
Right. Right.
township outside of Chillicothe.
Yeah. A smidge right next to it. Isn't there another one like Rome? There's a whole bunch of these little tiny towns between Peoria and Chillicothe. Seems
Yeah,
like.
there is. I'm looking up when the
Sure. Go
meetings
ahead.
are.
And
Uh,
this kind of also ties into what I think we touched on before, the fact that you can't garden in your front yard in
mhm.
most cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to, you have to have, grass, trees, the approved. You can't grow food out front. And it's like, why not?
Right.
Now, if I were on a thoroughfare, I said this before, I wouldn't want my food plants near exhaust.
Sure.
But for example, I'm in a cul-de-sac, there's not that much traffic. So if I wanted to grow tomatoes next to my house, I should be able to. But
I
a
guess
lot of
pest
cities freak
maybe.
out
You
about it.
think? You think it's like, oh,
No,
wildlife might come
it's
picking your tomatoes? I don't know.
No,
no, they
it's
consider
a
it to be an attractive
mindset.
nuisance, but it's all excuses,
Yeah.
you know.
And you have to be careful in some places. You should have your soil tested.
Yeah.
I know that in places in Peoria, down like in the city of Peoria, the lead levels in the soil is high enough that you should not be growing plants.
I
Yeah.
container
Because
garden. I'm above
yeah,
ground.
yeah.
Hmm.
So container gardens are a great solution for that. But as far as lead in the soil, it's not great.
Well,
And
to
weed
your
killer.
point, oh, go ahead. Right? Yeah. I mean, to your point though about how people sort of just ignored the ordinance for so long, didn't really matter. People do that with the gardening too. But then my stupid self, I'll be like, well, I better not do that because I might get in trouble. But then you go down your street and I've got at least 2 neighbors that have a bunch of gardening type stuff in their front yard. So like, do we just do we just ignore the man and we just do what we want? I mean, a lot of people do that for so many things anyway. But then you start to see this like crumbling of the rule of law, and I tell you what, this kind of speaks to a broader issue, which I think people don't want to think about, and that is any society like as it gets older, you just start stacking up rules and laws and red tape that just don't make any sense. And we've
Yeah.
got whole websites. We've got multiple websites that are devoted to pointing out the ridiculous law. Like I think one is called ridiculouslaws.com or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is, I mean, it's easy to point it out, but there's only one solution, and I think nobody likes that solution because you will never ever get a voted for body of government to take the time to repeal laws because no one will they will not get anything out of that. They don't get any votes. They don't get any money. They don't get anything. And so like pessimistically, I guess you just aren't going to see that happen unless you have people like Luke who are working from the from the ground up, so to speak, to try to change things. But now you're actually adding legislation in order to fix old legislation, instead of like there's no no one's ever going to just take something off the books. They're just going to be like, okay, I don't
Well,
know, maybe that makes sense either way, but
yeah, and I'd much rather have structured, logical ordinances that replace outright bans. Right?
right.
You can always say no, sorry, you can't have it, and not have any reason and not have any like. There's no, as you pointed out, right? Okay, so I do have it. What are you going to do? Right? There's no repercussions.
No
There's
stated.
nothing,
Yeah,
nothing like that, right?
it's
So
not a felony. It's not a there's no like tagged what do you call it,
right,
offense. Yeah, okay.
yeah, and hey, okay, so I can't have them. Great, come and get them. Right? They're honeybees. like,
Come and get them.
like it's as somebody who's worked hives and moved hives, you don't want to do that. It's a very painful process.
Just
But
tell them, pry them out of my cold dead hive. Cold dead hive. Go ahead, Luke. Sorry.
no, that's all right. So yeah, I think that there's a place for some regulations, and I agree. There's a place for stopping and going, well, does this actually make sense or not? And this one is one, in my opinion, that doesn't make sense. This is just fear based, and when we
Yeah,
act out of a place of fear, I think that's a misstep.
it's almost like I just imagine any of those other dumb laws I spoke of, like that they just bring back all of a sudden. Like, hey, you can't put that pie on your windowsill. Like like whatever the law is, like ah. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like I might have to push back against myself a little bit here, because I guess the answer is not to just like delete them off the books, because then you want to still be able to look back at the history of, okay, this is how this progressed. We had this law before, then we made a new law that changed it. So I guess that's okay. I still feel like there's just this book that just keeps getting I mean, it's a million miles high now of all the red tape. But I guess to your point, making a new law that does correct it can also be good. There's plenty of things that we could probably say right now that need to be fixed, but that's a lot of times opinion. So I guess they should put it to a vote if they really like. If there's still so much pushback after you finally get this in, then I don't know like who's really complaining about it, other than people who want to just pick a thing to like to like
Well,
champion or whatever.
and that's super important to know the process. So what ends up happening is that after I put this in, they'll discuss it, and then they'll decide if it goes to a vote. And then at the vote, then they'll vote for or against. They can discuss it again, and they'll vote for or against. And in at least in Chillicothe, I know that if it's a tie, because there's 8 aldermen, if it's a tie, say it's 4-4, then the mayor actually votes. And this is a process that actually, as um, residents and as people of these municipalities, even in a larger sense, the government, right?
Hmm.
The larger government, that we need to use these processes to make the changes that we want to see in the world. And this one has, to be fair, this one has no. I have no dog in this fight, right? I'm doing this
Right.
because somebody asked me to do it. It's a cause that I believe in. I wouldn't fight for it if I didn't believe in it, and it's a positive change that fights ignorance and opens the door towards better communication about our pollinators.
So
Like,
you don't have a bee in this fight, you said,
I have
right?
no B. Yeah, that's right. I have no B in this fight.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm a dad. Look,
I
That was
do.
good. I like that one.
I have a
I
stack of
mean,
dad jokes right here. Tyler.
imagine my situation here. Like, I don't even know because I ain't asking. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go to the city and go, can
Right.
I? No. It's
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
I am not saying anything to anybody. If I get a hive box, it's going to be in a quiet spot where nobody even knows anything about it. Don't ask, don't tell, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how cannabis growers have
But what
been
if
for a
they,
while.
yeah,
Even I
yeah.
mean in the
And
legal
we fought
areas,
for that
because
in
you don't know
California.
all the rules, right? Even if you're
Yeah.
in somewhere where you're allowed to grow, knowing the rules. Like sometimes you're not allowed to see it from the driveway. Your neighbors aren't supposed to be able to see it. So similarly, you want to kind of
Yeah.
block and. I actually
I
had
keep
a
stuff
side note.
quiet if I know it's not going to be,
Right.
this doesn't
I,
affect anybody. So,
Yeah, I have a friend that has new chickens coming up, and he was talking about the prices and stuff, and I was like, man, I don't know if I could have chickens here because it's just such a small yard. I have neighbors all on both sides of me, and so I think about that with like livestock. I definitely wouldn't think I could have bees here. Although I do have a lot of bees here because I have this darn bush that just keeps growing back every year between my neighbor's house and mine, and it just flowers like crazy, and the bees love it. My son will be out there playing by it and stuff, and that freaks me out. But if it was a hive that I maintained, that was mine, I would have it, a little further away. I'd have it somewhere that I
yeah.
could regulate. Instead we have like this, like the wildlife still happens, bees still happen. Like even though you don't have a hive, like you still
They
have
could be up a
flowers.
tree,
Yeah,
Well,
like
let's
which they
let,
used
let's
to be. They used to be
let's
in the tree.
oh
let's
yeah.
talk about it too. You said that you're kind of scared that your kid's playing by this bush. Why?
Well, look, I hate to say this, but and I hate to use it as a crutch, but with him having autism,
Yeah,
I don't think he would even. He doesn't have a
consider
danger
it.
sense a lot of times.
Sure,
So he
sure.
wouldn't even move away from them. He doesn't even know that it matters. And I wouldn't. I don't necessarily always move away from them. I'll stand still to let it, chill instead of freaking out and jumping or whatever. I know all those things, but just for him, a lot of times danger wise, it's not
I
just the
don't
bees.
I don't know that they would even bother you because here's the thing that we don't also
He's
realize.
never been stung, so go ahead.
And
Yeah,
and bees have jobs when they're out in the field. Their job in the field is to do one of those things. They either collect pollen, or they collect nectar, or they're getting water. Those are their jobs. They don't do anything outside of that. And like we talked about early in this, right? You got stung, but you got stung because you were moving a tarp over and you
sure.
squished her, right? So like, yeah, if your son may get stung because of that, but like running around and messing around in the backyard, I would have I have no issue with that. I mean, my 84-year-old mother works in her garden every day around the bees and does not get stung, right? Like, and she's not going to get away fast. She's a lovely
Right.
woman, super nice, but she's not going to run away and get away from those.
Well,
Uh,
I don't. Okay, let me reiterate. I don't freak out, but it freaks me out a little bit. Like it's not.
yeah,
It's still within reason. I'm kind of keeping a little eye. Maybe listen,
yeah,
maybe an ear out for a little bit more. But yeah, I don't tell him
It's the
to
same thing
just.
with Jim,
Yeah.
because he is allergic, he has to be very careful about that, but, like, he's aware to just stay calm. He doesn't flail, because when you do, that's a problem. Neither one of us will.
yeah,
Um, I had an ongoing we were talking about wasps. I
Hmm.
had an ongoing battle with one a few years ago, and it actually left a scar when it finally got me. I couldn't figure out where it was, and I mean, I did everything I could think of to scare this thing away, like, I sprayed water out there in the side yard, what I was trying to figure out where it was, it actually had a nest under the shelf on my barbecue.
yeah,
So, I mean, I even went out there, the electric zapper rackets for
yeah,
flies?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
even went out there and he came at me and I went bong and I watched him yeet over the roof. And I thought to myself, I didn't hear a zap. I am out of here. Because I knew he was coming back mad?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when it finally got me, it was in here. And because I am sensitive and autoimmune, it was bad. It was painful. It burned for days.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when I finally found where the nest was and got rid of it, it was all good. But yeah, I had that kind of a battle. They're more testy. They're way more reactive. If
Oh
It's
I
yeah.
just
it's
I
walked
get.
out there, it was at me, you
We
know?
do get wasps around here too. And let me just to finish my thought about my son. He'll be out there with a stick, just smacking bushes or what like things like that. And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
you know and
Now you're the
that's what
aggressor.
I'm talking about. Like he's not like a crazy aggressive kid, but he might be like ripping leaves off of a bush or playing with sticks, and that's but again, that's
Unintentional.
with anything. That's all danger, not just hey, bees are the thing. Like if we were in the ocean, I'd be like, okay, where's the fin at? You know what I mean? Like just for
yeah.
his
Dun,
sake.
dun.
um but yeah, it's just one of those things as a dad. But yeah, he just kind of doesn't pay attention to. And we have like a wasp, I think a couple wasp nests every year, either around my basement windows or up by my deck where I'm grilling out and stuff. And they're usually wasp. I mean, I can tell because they're much bigger and like skinnier. Like you can tell the difference. I don't know why people are so difficult to tell because like a bumblebee. That's one of the most commonly like that's a very easy one to tell.
Yep.
Thing looks like a big old
Yeah.
pill floating around. Like it's
Yep.
huge,
We
fluffy.
get those. It's a
Yeah.
sign of a healthy ecology. I love it.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you want to see. Butterflies, they're the first ones to get hit by chemicals and anything wrong. But we
Mm.
got those. We got bumblebees, whatever type of wasp it is. It's a papery type of nest. You know, when they start building, we knock them down because they get under the eaves, and now it's at risk for anybody coming in and out the door.
Do
Yep.
wasps do
Yeah, I
anything
don't use
good?
chemicals.
Yeah, wasps actually are pollinators as well. They're
Really?
decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some versions are pollinators.
Sorry.
A lot of them are insectivores, so they'll eat. Lots of them eat spiders and sting
Wow.
spiders, but they'll eat all kinds of mosquitoes, things like that.
Do
There's a
spiders eat
They're
wasps too?
allowed.
Like in a
You
circle?
know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like they can
yeah.
be on my property. I don't have a problem, but they cannot be under the eaves where there's an entrance to the house.
Well,
So
and
I'll
you don't
just
have to
knock
feel
those
bad.
down.
Don't feel bad because a lot of those wasps
Yeah.
make like 10 nests in a
Yes.
neighborhood.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so you don't have like when you knock one down, they have 9 others that they're
Yeah.
that they're managing. The bald-faced hornet is actually native to Illinois. Those are the great big paper-looking things that you see. Those guys are those as a beekeeper, as somebody that gets stung, the bald-faced hornet is scary for me. I don't like those guys. They hurt. They hurt really. They like
You
as far as
recognize them. You know what
I
they look
reckon,
like.
yeah,
The ones that are kind of bulb-shaped nest.
they're yeah, it's a
Okay.
bulb shaped
Because what
nest.
we
Usually
get here
they'll do whatever.
is like this, but there's a bunch of holes.
Yeah, like a
But
cauliflower head
it
or something
stays
like
open.
that.
Yeah, it stays open. Yeah, it looks like honeycomb. Yeah.
Yeah, those are usually paper wasps. They
Yeah.
technically can be yellow jackets. Usually, yellow jackets are in the ground, and yellow
That's
jackets are
what it
the
was that
ones.
stung me, and it hurt.
Those are the ones that yeah. I got stung last year by a yellow jacket nest that was actually had built in its a nest in my apiary, and I'd stepped on the nest,
Ooh.
and I got stung about 8 times by the yellow jacket. Um, and that one, those I didn't keep those around.
I was gonna say,
That
do you
may
find it
depend
hard
on.
to be nice to them at that point? Are
I
you?
do. I
Yeah.
do. I have a limit. I have a limit with the honeybees too, right? Like, if there's personalities in there that I don't like, you can change your personalities of your hive by changing the queen, right? Because they're all related to that queen.
Yeah.
So I've replaced queens. Now there was nothing wrong with the hive; they were fine. It was just me being crabby, being like, nope, I'm done with this.
Are there different subspecies of yellow jackets?
There are yes,
Ted?
there's the German,
Okay.
and there's something else. We
Because
see
what we got
German.
here in California is pretty much docile as far they're not aggressive towards you, but they want your food. If you've got meat, they're after that. They will dive into boiling chili. I've seen it
Yeah,
because they're just food.
yeah,
Oops, I'm dead.
yeah. So those are the German ones. Actually, as long as we've got people here talking about stuff, and you're talking about wasps and stuff. So the German yellow jackets are invasive as well. They're not a native species, but they've been here long enough that they're probably been naturalized. What we do have coming across the United States, coming right now, they're making their way into Georgia. They're in North Carolina. Is a thing called the yellow-legged hornet, and you guys
Mm.
can look into that. But those are meat eaters. They like to hang in the air outside of beehives, and then they'll pick off bees that come and go. And so it decreases the amount of the survivability of that hive because the bees can see them and will stay in the hive. They'll be like, "No, I'm not. I can see you. I'm not coming out." Um,
That's a
so
problem.
those are a problem right now. And Georgia, and they eat quite a bit of meat, insects, pollinators. They'll eat everything. They like honeybee hives, but they'll eat everything. And those are coming across the United States right now. They'll be making it probably into Illinois within a couple of years, which we'll have to come up with a new solution then.
So I have
Yeah.
this comment here from Jeremy Vance. What's up, Jeremy? He says, literally a Google AI response for why we should ban bees. I don't know if it's ban bees or ban beekeeping, but you said bees. Property damage. Bees can cause nuisances such as leaving waste, fecal trails on cars and houses. What? Wash your car. LOL. Leave the bees be. Hey, interesting discussion. Hey, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, that's funny. Google AI response.
The the
Well,
f- the fecal thing is funny. Did you know that almost started World War III? Is bee poop?
what?
So, all right.
Okay, I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
All right. So there are stands across that we watch radiation for in the world, all over the world. And one of these stands is kind of near where Russia had their nuclear power plant meltdown, right? Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, yeah.
And so there was a beehive that had gone into Chernobyl and was collecting nectar and pollen from there and actually bringing it back to the hive. And it was slightly radioactive, which made their poop radioactive, which then got, and they pooped near one of the sensors. And the sensor set off an alarm that said a nuclear launch had been detected. And
That
so they
doesn't
had to
even
go
seem real, but I know
so
you're
that-
telling the truth.
So they had to go out there and check it to see what was going on. And so so bee poop almost caused World War III.
So it wasn't quite a nuclear launch, more of a nuclear lunch. But
Yeah.
they came out in the wrong place. That's for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Radioactive poop. Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I'm surprised that's the only story we can think of that. I mean,
That's crazy.
right? Like animals trekking through places, like I could see that happening, spreading material. We have toxins everywhere. I mean, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say that Chernobyl, I guess, is mostly cleaned up now.
No,
Cannabis,
I
cannabis
heard
actually absorbed a lot
No,
of it.
it's capped.
no.
Oh, I see.
They're having to recap it right now. They have an
Yeah.
issue with it right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so there's
bad.
something in the news about it. Okay, well, I could look it up.
Yeah.
A little
Anyway,
while back,
that's a whole nother.
actually.
I don't know why I'm
It's a
thinking.
whole
I
nother
know
Oh,
that's
that's
topic.
another rabbit
interesting.
hole.
No, rabbit. Oh,
But yeah,
squirrel.
they've
Okay.
been working on that for a while.
Yeah.
It's a problem. See, the only reason that's on my radar is because I have a lot of friends who live in Russia.
Oh.
So yeah.
Nice.
Okay. While we're
Yeah.
talking, I am going to pull up the number wheel while we talk here. I got a little spin for
Absolutely.
everybody. You can go ahead. I'm just going to check.
No. So it's really interesting. I have a really difficult time. And I just post. I'm pretty active on Reddit, and I posted to the beekeeping community there, which is, if you're interested in beekeeping, it's a really neat community. There's neat pictures and stuff.
I'll have to check it out. I
yeah.
used to be on Reddit, not quite anymore,
But I see a lot of anti-bee sentiment that's cropping back up. Right? Beekeeping's been pushed for a while, and anytime that you have something that's been pushed like that for a while, I think anti-sentiment push back against it, right? And some of that's pretty healthy. And realistically, bees are not the awesome, perfect pollinator that we think they are. Bees are a good pollinator. They made it to Illinois in about 1800, and they were actually brought over in Jamestown in about 1623-ish. Right? So we brought them over here. We found we recently found a 16,000-year-old fossil of a honeybee.
Wow. Whoa. Did you say 16,000?
16,000-year-old fossil of a honeybee. So there was no honeybees here other than that one. And those died out. We don't know why.
Maybe that was before the freaking planet, the tectonic plates shifted and our Pangea turned into continents. Maybe, I don't know. That's probably way longer than 16,000 years. But
so then what ended up happening? There was no bees here. Pilgrims brought them over, 1623. By the 1800s, they were actually already in Illinois, which is So they made it to Illinois in 1800, which was before Chillicothe was established, which I think is funny.
Nice. Hey,
And
side note: this song is called "Happy Bee." Anyway,
so there's kind of pushback against it because bees are not what are called a non-native species.
right.
Now, are they naturalized? Maybe. Ooh, winner.
Ka-ching. Yeah.
So are they naturalized? Probably now, right? Like they have niches out there. So much of our landscape is non-native already too, right? Plants, grass is non-native.
Vegetables. Most of our
Apples are
food,
non-native. Yeah, pears. So there's arguments. There's kind of anti-sentiment for them because they're good at grabbing resources, but realistically, I think that they're here and we should be using them with or growing with them with
Right.
with intention.
Well, I mean, they're like honey is pretty important too. I mean, I know that it's just sweet for a lot of people, but honey is like a superfood for many reasons we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't, I mean, say if we were like, in America and walled off, no one could come to us, we would never have any honey for all of its benefits if we didn't continue using them. And so that's probably the only case that I know of where it was beneficial to to move species, because there's so many other cases where I'm sure there are some other cases where it's beneficial, but there's so many cases where it's terrible, like the that frog in Australia, and then
The
you've got
cane
like
toad.
there was like a rabbit too somewhere else, like I think Hawaii. I don't know. There's places where it's like you take it to a small, or an island anywhere, and it just suddenly can just, or like
That's
pythons in Florida,
yep.
like just insane. It just goes crazy. So but bees though, we're still running out of bees, even though it should be doing that same thing, overpopulating like all these other situations have happened. So what do you think the difference is, I wonder, between
So we're
pythons and bees?
so we're actually not running out of bees because we take care of them, right? They're a managed population.
I thought there was like a lower. I thought it was like lower in population right now, wasn't it?
So
Did it take a hit?
we had a major die off. Every winter there's a major die off. 2 years ago we had the largest die off in recorded history of honeybees, and we're slowly building those numbers back up. But as far as being endangered, they're not really yet.
I see.
They're not.
So there's a difference. I get it.
There's a difference, and the pythons and stuff, they have no predators other than the humans, and they have basically, it's like a lunch buffet in the Everglades for those guys, so they can get really big. They have no predators, and that's why we're hunting those down, and they're eating things that didn't develop with them. So
Hmm. So Jeremy has a question. Is it, was the bee fossil uniform size with conventional bees? That's a good question. Was it like
it
was it
was,
like a
yeah, and it
Neanderthal
was
bee? Had a
no,
bigger
no,
head and it carried a club.
no, it was the same. I'll see if I can pull a picture of it up. No, it was the same. It's actually it was an apis. It was still in the apis family. So the western honeybee, the honeybee that we all know, is the Apis mellifera. That's the scientific name of it. And so yeah, it was roughly the same size. Now there's and I've talked to you guys about this before, but there's an Apis mellipona that's down in Mexico and South America.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
stingless honeybee,
I
and
like that one. Oh
those
wait,
guys, yeah, they don't sting.
that's not what I thought you were talking about. I thought you were going for the other one. Anyway, the Mayan, the freaky honey.
Yeah, no, that's the crazy honey. That's in Nepal.
Ugh,
Oh,
I'm getting them all mixed up. But the
those are
Mayan honey, that's the one with the no stingers, right?
yeah, no stingers, and you can you basically extract that honey with a syringe. It's pretty awesome. They make little cups instead, and you stick a syringe in and you suck the honey out of the cup instead of like honeycomb like we're
You leave
used to.
some of it. You leave some
You
of
leave
it.
some of it. Oh, absolutely. Actually, even in my bees. So I am very careful with my bees to leave resources for them so that I'm not stressing them out. And I really am there to learn from the bees,
Mhm.
to not only life lessons but just learn how the hive works and see how things operate.
I mean, there's always room for improvement for most things, right?
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as you're asking an engineer if there's room for improvement, man. I would engineer the heck out of everything
Oh
if I
man, we used
could.
to cuss engineers a lot with when I worked at Automotive Center. Engineers
Oh,
on cars. Oh
oh
man,
yeah,
why did they
me
put
too.
it here? Why did they
Yeah.
put? I can't even get it. Oh man, just some things that you can't tell. Like well, there was a reason when it was built that way, but then when you gets all the way to the person operating it, you're like, I can't figure out why. But really, you were supposed to take this whole thing off, and you didn't know it or whatever, and it just, yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. I know a couple engineers, and you guys think a little differently.
yeah, we do. And actually, I was the engineer that got to talk to the engineers that design stuff and the guys in the field that worked on stuff. So I know exactly where that pain is where the why did you do this? And more than once, I grabbed an engineer and made them take something apart that they designed, and they don't appreciate it when you do that.
What's this Tala? The scientist studied certain. Go ahead. What did you find here?
Oh, I was responding to the claim that they planted cannabis. They're very restrictive about that in Russia, first
Oh,
of
I
all. Like,
see.
you have no idea. But no, they were
Hemp, right?
experimenting with certain plants, including industrial hemp, but they didn't go plant cannabis at Chernobyl. That didn't they yeah.
Yeah, it's like we shortened this whole like a lot of I thought the same thing. We shortened this like long story of how they tested different things to like, oh yeah, they put weed in the Chernobyl. Like, yeah, okay, but I mean hemp. A lot of us think of them as very similar. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
there's slight differences, but the fact remains that hemp and cannabis do actually absorb a lot of toxins out of the soil, which is pretty
yeah.
nice.
A
I
lot of
wanted to
plants will
go ahead.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's some other plants that do that. I don't know if cannabis is the best at it, but I know it's up
Yeah.
there. Hemp, and
Which
actually, I
is
don't I don't
why
even know if cannabis versus hemp has a difference in that aspect
yeah,
either.
good question too. But that's why
Probably.
they were doing the experiment, and industrial hemp was one of the plants that they were experimenting with there. But I just know, like I said, I have a lot of friends there, native Russian people, and I know how very opposed most of them are.
Hmm.
Like the big problem with substances in Russia is alcohol,
Yeah.
but there is such a dividing line. Like you are straight and narrow Orthodox, or you are a drunk, and you can go
Right.
over there. They're very, yeah.
Well, vodka
So
to keep you warm in the wintertime, right? You gotta keep stay warm.
Yeah.
see, people think of that because we've always had movies
Movies.
portraying it that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Movies. Yep.
But when you actually
Uh,
talk to people, you find out.
well, they
So
have a strong sense of country too. A lot of them.
Yeah.
What, Luke?
so there's that. I posted a link specifically to the Science News that has that all American Native American honeybee with a
Can
fossil of it.
you send it to me in a DM because that just went to
Yeah,
private. You can't actually comment in the public chat from the studio. I don't know why. I can, but you guys can't. I don't know why. Thank you. Okay, I can pull that up in a second here. But I had another question. I don't know if either of you saw the Joe Rogan interview with, or the podcast, not really interview, but with RFK a few days ago.
I've
I
not seen it
missed it,
yet.
I think. I thought I saw a little segment. I want to see the rest.
It's pretty good. I don't think I finished it all the way either, but specifically the conversation they had about glyphosate, and obviously glyphosate kills a lot of bees and a lot of other and anything living that's not designed to withstand it, like our GMO stuff is. But the interesting thing that RFK was talking about was this, like, technology will get us out of this because I guess supposedly most of our glyphosate, and this is all coming from the podcast, you guys go watch it, but the most of our glyphosate comes from China. And if we ever get to the point where we piss them off enough, they could literally, just by cutting off the supply of glyphosate, which we all know of as a poison, would actually collapse our food industry, because so much of our food in America is dependent on glyphosate in order to get to our table, because of all the things that it prevents, and the
We got to
pests.
transition slowly.
We have to transition slowly, but like he was saying, technology can get us out of that faster than transitioning to just regenerative agriculture. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up with technology, I think you might have talked a couple of
The
things, but
laser.
this one, the laser, you saw that?
Yes.
That's so
I'm
cool,
so
man. Like,
excited about it. I
yeah,
saw
it,
it.
it, it
Yeah.
goes behind the tractor or whatever. It's part of the machine, and this laser is, I'm guessing, using AI and camera technology. It's identifying um, plant, genomes and plant species and everything, and it knows what is was like a weed, which I don't like that term because a lot of weeds are useful
Yeah.
plants, but it's taking everything out of the field that you don't want in the field,
What's
and it's
unwanted, yeah.
and it's zapping all the way down to the root system, and it
Yeah.
said blowing them up with the laser, and evidently it's very like 90% effective, and so I don't know how long that's going to take to get out here, but
Controversy, the
yeah.
argument that it destroys the biome. Well, what
Mhm.
does glyphosate do?
Yeah, like what do you like? That's a
It's
physical
sterilizing the
destruction.
soil. Well,
Yeah, that's
at least
using
it's not
heat.
leaving something toxic.
Yeah, that's not a chemical; it's a heat. So maybe it's not the best be all end all, but that's just
I'm all
promising.
for it. I think that the ecology of the soil, the biome, can recover better from getting zapped like that than it can to have a toxic load that's going to be in there and then sucked up into our food.
Yeah,
Maybe the only thing that is allowing the soil to sort of recover at some point from being saturated with glyphosate is the fact that we're planting and the plants are pulling it out. Well,
right.
I don't want to eat that. I avoid
Yeah.
that now. I switched to organic coffee, as much of a financial burden as that can be. I hunt for deals, but I
Hmm.
did that because coffee is one of the most saturated crops out there.
Oh, really?
And there's two things I had to eliminate to heal my gut: seed oils and glyphosate. That's
Hmm.
what put me into the leaky gut syndrome in the first place. So now that I did that, I can eat meat and there's no problem. Yeah,
I guess that laser machine can target pests too, not just plants.
I
So I
think
hope
so. And
I hope
also avoid.
right.
Like, if there's bugs you don't wanna kill, I think it actually they said that it's that smart.
Good,
So,
because we definitely don't want to kill them all.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Ladybugs, praying mantises, we like those.
when I was working at Caterpillar, right before I retired a few years ago from Caterpillar to actually pursue just beekeeping,
Hmm.
and while I was there, they already had the technology for the camera for now it wasn't lasers, and I don't know about the laser technology, but I know that they have uh, directed spray. So
Yeah,
it's I just spray the single as it goes across the field. It has multiple sprayers and it hits single plants as it goes across the
right.
field. So your load is much lower compared to the blanket air
Carpet bombing
drops
it.
that we're
Hmm.
getting that you still get. I mean, you still see them in Illinois. If you can drive around, it's usually like June and July, and you can see the carpet spraying of a lot of
Ugh,
those. Now, the problem is what I see with a lot of the stuff, not with the laser stuff. It's really expensive, by the way. Uh, is because our agriculture has developed in the way that it has. They as you said, Waylon, there is not a lot of options other than using something like a broadcast herbicide or a broadcast pesticide, right? Because how do I keep like on the edge of the fields? They'll find that there's a whole bunch of animals eating those pests, but as you get to the middle of the field, they just don't have that. So it's a really difficult spot we put ourselves in to be like, hey, I want to make 5,000 acres of corn, right? But well, in order to do that, you're going to have to apply some of this stuff. So
I,
it's
I
really
don't
the
like that.
I
The
mean,
giant acreage of I think we got to find
yeah,
another way of doing it, man. These like ten
yeah,
thousand acre farms. It's just like you're base. You might as well cut that whole piece of land out and separate it from everything like the world.
yeah,
Because you're trying to force control that environment, and by the way, destroying a whole environment by doing that.
yeah.
So anyway, that's one reason I think
Make it
indoor can
make it friendly to the natural pest destroyers, first of all. There are better methods. I mean,
culling.
again, I'm traditional Native American. So, to me, that's important. Like, can we go back to some of the methods that are tried and true? But as long as we're in this mindset of mass produce, you know how much food waste there is in the United States? Nobody is starving who has to starve.
yep,
Let's get that straight. There is enough food.
yep,
It's just that it's not being done correctly. For example, grocery store, this is expired or, whatever. I'm not allowed to sell it. I'm going to throw it in the trash. I'm going to lock the trash so nobody else can have it. They've been told to do that. They get in trouble if they give that food to somebody, even if it's still good. That's the crux of the problem. We have enough food. So if we
yeah,
transition to, you talk about government subsidize. Take my taxes and pay for the laser instead of these weird studies.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
the laser works. Do that. Yeah, you can use my taxes for that. I'll approve that all day long. That brings the cost problem into control. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something that you can see, like, oh, hey, there's a laser shooting. Like the chemical makeup of something is, it's very complex, and it's hard for us to know. And there's actually some comments here to this, which, Dabby, thanks for coming in today. She says, "Have you heard of the new weed killer called spruce? It's supposedly safe for use around people, pets, and bees." And then we had my friend Alan, who works at a hardware store. He says they sell a lot of it. He says most of my customers love how quickly they see results. But then Lila Rose, shouts out Rose, she says, which makes sense. She says if it's new, I would want to wait a decade to revisit how safe it is. Really, we know how bad weed killer is for us after they're saying it's totally safe for years. So where do you stand? Have you ever heard of spruce? And while you respond, I'm gonna pull this up that you sent me.
Now that's a new one on me.
So
Spruce.
spruce is new for me. I just pulled it up just to take a look at it. You have to be careful when things say safe for bees
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that, and this
It's
is true for
delicate.
all of our herbicides and pesticides, the way that they test it is on a bee. They don't test it when it combines in the hive with anything.
Right.
So bees are social. Honeybees are a social insect. Most things are like um, not like most of our native species are actually solitary. They work alone. Some bumblebees actually are semi-social, so they have like a very small nest. But they never test it when it gets back to the hive, and when it combines with stuff, it can cause some pretty terrible interactions that makes things very, very poisonous. In fact, I routinely have to switch out my comb every year. I change out about 20% of my frames so that I don't have a buildup of pesticides in my frames that we like to use out in the field.
You were way off, Luke. This
Uh oh.
says a 14 million year old fossil
Oh,
from
there we go.
Nevada.
Yeah, that's the one. Though.
That is, I mean, I was blown away by 16,000.
Yeah, I was.
14 million, that could easily be from before Pangea, like when before we, I mean, wait, hold on. Is Pangea a fact or is that a theory? I don't remember if that's true or not, but I
So
remember,
so
the puzzle.
Pangea happened like 300 million years ago.
Well,
So
this
that
thing maybe took a while to fossilize. I don't know.
uh,
This was the last one ever to live in
probably
America.
not. Probably not.
I
Like
mean,
that's
over here,
yeah.
as
So
Apis,
Nectarius, Apis nectarius, are near
honeybee ancestor. Okay.
Cetas.
Well, look at this part is like may. Oh, this is May. Okay, I didn't see that part. May have made their way over the land bridge, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah, that's true. Or maybe came with when people came over was it the Denisovans? I can't remember my terms, but yeah, there were people that came over here a long time ago that we used to blame for the killing of woolly mammoths, but I personally don't believe that anymore. Once they found like whole fields of mammoths that were just flash killed in Russia. Have you ever heard that? Anyway, whole other
Yeah.
story. But
There's a lot of stuff that has been debunked, but people still want to argue about it. So one little interesting tidbit on that, if you were to look at the alleles for DNA samples for Plains tribes, yes, they originated here. My tribe did not. It looks completely different. And
mm,
because there's not much of a base, because like when I lived in Oklahoma 30 years ago, my elders were telling me, I didn't know what DNA sampling was. And they said, they want to scrape our cheeks. Don't let them. They didn't want to cooperate
right.
with that. And I understand why now. I was like, what are you talking about? Scrape our cheeks? You know,
Ouch. Yeah, with a knife.
yeah,
Ouch.
that sounded all wrong. Now I what they meant, but there's not a big sampling there. But what there is now, people they want to pinpoint their tribe. It's really not accurate like they think, and so you may be Cherokee, and that's not even our word, but you may be Cherokee, but it'll show up and it'll say that you have Jewish ancestry.
Hmm.
That's where it is. It's very interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, we did not originate here like the Plains tribes.
I mean, people. What was it? There was something else recently that somebody was talking about endangered, and it's like we don't realize that human types of humans and types of wildlife go extinct and new ones get created, new ones come out of the woodwork. Like it's just a thing that happens over time. We think we can just sort of snapshot our existence and keep it here, never never change. But we also found out recently, side note, but somewhat connected, but we found out that humans have some marker in our DNA that, or some humans have this marker that suggests it was done, like, I guess, tampered with somehow a long time ago. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a fun thing to talk about, but let's get back to the
That's a deep rabbit hole.
yeah. Well, I do want to
I
point
know
out,
that one.
I want to
Alien
do a little.
DNA.
Right. I want to do a little promoting here, for Luke, because obviously he's one of my sponsors. But if you guys are interested in knowing more about honey, but not just honey, but bees and pollinators in general, because like he's got links for his classes, and he also does a bunch of things. There's beginner, advanced classes, but he also will help you maintain a hive. He probably would help you get it started, I assume, but
Mhm.
he you can pay him to kind of come and take care of your hive for you. Not if you're somebody who doesn't have the time to do that. He also rescues bees, which he can't do for Tala unless he wants to take a plane ride. But locally, if you have a bee,
Keep in mind
like a,
though.
right, well, no, but he could rescue him, like, and actually get him to go into a hive, maybe, but. Or maybe at least give you a pointer or two, but it's kind of a cool thing. I mean, you do so
Pheromone
many.
attractant, from what I understand. Do you only have the website, or are you on social platforms?
Oh yeah,
I'm
I'm
on
getting there.
Facebook.
Oh
I'm on
yeah,
Facebook as well.
I'll
Okay.
And
pull
then
up the
and
Riverview
then I have
Road.
a
Yeah, put the
podcast
link.
too. I have a podcast too that's called Beekeeping Buddies, where we bring in some experts as well.
What's the
So
primary home for your podcast? What platform?
Libsyn is actually where it lives, but it's on Spotify. It's on
It's audio.
Apple Audio.
I'm a
It's
podcaster, so I'm also on Spotify.
yeah.
It's
I
a
post primarily on Substack, but yeah, I'm on Spotify.
basically all the places you can get an audio podcast. But I find it on Spotify. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
That's
they get. Go ahead.
that's my picture right there. That's a really awesome picture. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry. Keep
yeah,
It's
no, I
all
like
under Riverview Road apiary, I assume.
it.
yeah. Yep.
The podcast is called Beekeeping Buddies, though.
Okay.
So if you want to look for that, but his business is Riverview Road Apiary, and you can get a $15 gift code every Sunday. Well, not every Sunday, on once a month on Sunday, the first Sunday of every month, you can get a gift code to buy some honey at the website. But I just like to point
Well,
out that, like, you don't have, oh, hey, I sell honey. You literally do like a dozen things within the pollinator community, which I think are so important. Honey just seems to be the one that people care about because we can eat it, right? We don't really
Yeah.
care about
Honey
anything else.
Honey's the moneymaker that allows me to pay for the rest of the habit. Right.
Right.
You scroll by, we have Hot Honey too that I'm working with, like a
Yeah.
local guy. That stuff's
I like
really
that
good.
dude. He's a good guy.
Yeah. John is his name, John Humphreys. He's super
Blackbeard
nice.
Canning Company. Yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get him in. I'm trying to get him in. Maybe talk to him next time you talk to him. Let's get him on the wheel. People want some hot sauce, baby. Anyway,
His hot
but yeah,
sauces are
that's
hot too.
a Scorched Road and Peach Mango Hot Honey. Ooh.
Yeah. And the Heart of Illinois Beekeeping Association, they're local in Peoria. If you're in the Peoria area, actually, there's a meeting this Friday at the USDA, the Farm Bureau. It's right across from the USDA.
Wait,
That
what is
Farm
the
Bureau.
meeting?
It's at 6:30 on
What is
Friday.
it for again? I'm sorry.
Oh, the Heart of Illinois Beekeeping Association. So
It's
that
just,
is like our local beekeeping group. We do classes, we do outreach to students. Like as far as I go and talk to school students about
Cool.
pollinators and stuff like that. It's a kind of a social club
Cool. I
with
should
some
try to make
structure.
it.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
that
little.
and
I might not be able
um,
to make that time, but go ahead.
yeah, and they're actually that's a whole nother topic about the Farm Bureau selling their building, and that got all that stuff's happening.
Let me hear about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the Illinois Farm Bureau was like the original farm bureau for the United States. And most agricultural farm bureaus spread out from the Illinois Farm Bureau, and That's
I didn't
why
know that.
where country financial insurance and stuff. That's where
That's
that
what I
stuff
have.
came
Yeah.
from.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they were actually that was before they became public, right? As far as offering insurance to the public, they used to only offer it to farmers. It was a farm insurance because farmers
Huh.
couldn't get insured, and so the Farm Bureau created them to allow insurance for farmers. And then more recently, they were like, "Hey, we would like to offer it to other people," and they went and kind of separated some from the Farm Bureau.
You know what's funny
The
about that? Before you go on, I got my farm insurance through Country Financial, but they did not know how to do it. They said because they had never had a microgreen farmer that wants to grow microgreens in some trays inside a house to get a farm insurance, and they didn't know what to do. And one thing, they only gave me one rule. They said you cannot grow sprouts. I cannot grow bean sprouts like you would have, like they used to have on
oh
Jimmy John's used to have the sproutlings on their sandwich, but they had to stop doing that because people there was incidents of E. coli, and I think that they told me I can't grow those because there's a, I don't know how they put it, like a cleanliness issue, a
yeah,
sterilization issue. I don't know
yeah.
exactly, but
There's high incidences of E. coli
yeah,
with bean sprouts. Yeah,
I'm like, well, everything I do, I have that chance. I mean, I guess there's just higher chances with that. But they just were trying to be safe, I guess, because they had never done one before me, which is kind of
yeah.
funny because you're
I,
you're talking about mostly outdoor farming, right? Anyway, go
absolutely.
ahead. So
No,
what so
no.
what did they?
So they're selling their building. That's like it's basically, uh, where Bradley University is. There's
Yep,
the right across the bridge in Bradley University. There's the USDA there, which is actually the largest USDA in the United States,
I
and
didn't know that.
they are
Wow.
also studying honeybees there and their pests. And then right next to there is Prairie Farms, which is their milking area is there, and across the catty corner of that is the Farm Bureau. So that Farm Bureau building is actually being sold in the next 2 months, so they can build a new one further out in the countryside,
Hmm.
and it's pretty awesome.
Like up north Peoria, maybe.
I think actually out in Princeville.
Oh wow, that is out there. Rose asked if she says, is it recommended to have more than one hive, or can you beekeep one box?
You can beekeep one box if you're going to be a hobbyist beekeeper, which is somebody that has less than 100 hives. I always suggest two hives, and then you have a box that is called a nuke. Well, the nuke is there only to work your bees, but I always suggest starting with two hives. And realistically, anybody that wants to start, I would say take about a year to do research. Beekeeping
Hmm.
for Dummies, the Beekeeping for Dummies book is great. It's always available in the library, whatever library is local. Use library resources. Beekeeping for Dummies, or there's another one called The Backyard Beekeeper. Those are the two best books out there, and you should have one anyway, just for reference. So
Hmm.
they run like $20 usually ish around that. So
There's also a lot of local like communities, like you can
oh yeah.
find, beekeeping friends to help out and everything. And so you mean you don't want them just to blow up your inbox every day? And
No, you can 100% blow up my inbox, but I'm going to tell you the same thing here as on the inbox, which is two hives is great to start. Do your research for a year. Join a club.
Mhm.
Clubs are super nice. The people are nice. Everyone's excited about beekeeping. You don't find mean beekeepers. We don't really exist. Everyone's so excited about honeybees that we just get along. Even like all different backgrounds doesn't matter. We still get along because everyone's real excited about honeybees.
I wonder if it takes a certain type of personality that's drawn to that. I would assume it's similar to like a farmer, a gardener, or somebody that tends to some kind of nature. But beekeeping is a I mean, I guess it's more akin to what do you call it, livestock
It's
almost.
close. Yeah, there's a lot of livestock management stuff. So I go to livestock management courses to see what I can glean from there to apply to my hives so that I can keep healthy bees and have a
Good
minimum
method.
impact on the environment.
I like
It,
that.
it,
Is
yeah.
is your Facebook page under the same name as your podcast?
No,
No, my
it's the
podcast
Riverview Road
is
Apiary. So
yeah, my
Because
Facebook
I
is
found the
Riverview Road
podcast,
Apiary. Yeah, and my Facebook
but the
page is
Facebook page, I want to follow you.
this is it
Yeah.
River.
here,
Yeah,
Tala.
Riverview Road Apiary on Facebook. Okay.
yep.
Thank you.
And I don't post a huge amount on there. Really, realistically, I should be posting more. But I post
Good
some
stuff.
videos and stuff that I sell. Like I have nukes coming in. That's a nucleus for those who've ever. When I say, hey, there should be 2 boxes. Yeah,
You need to have a
Just,
nuke. Wait, what?
it's
yeah,
important, and I've got a couple of Facebook pages, so I'm definitely going to follow you from that. I have Tala's Treehouse is one of them, and
yeah.
that really aligns with that. But also my First Light Warrior account, I followed you on that one as well.
Nice,
So
thanks.
what's
I
this post
appreciate
here?
it.
It says time is winding down for nuke sales.
Yeah, so I sell nukes for people that want bees. So there's 2 ways of selling bees. The first way is with you can buy a package of bees, which is like a 2 to 3 pound box of bees with a queen in it, and they ship that. There's large apiaries basically have a hopper and a large um, like a automated mill thing with a scale on it, and they spray the bees down. They knock them into this hopper, and then they have a little opening in the bottom. They fill up a box until it is 2 to 3 pounds of bees. They throw a queen in there with a random cage, throw the lid on, and ship it down.
Hmm.
And you can get
Imagine
those.
being that delivery guy.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, those don't usually. They can ship those across the United States. Usually, you go and pick those up. These are nukes.
Specialty thing.
This is like a whole. We talked about how like a colony of bees is an organism, and they're technically called a superorganism. So that colony is all family, and they all know each other and they get along. So nukes are like a small portion of a hive, and I sell those, and those are much better success rates than what packages do, in my
Because
opinion.
you have
This
a
this
sort of
and
And I
this
think
is
it's important, like if here's what I see as a real issue with this whole thing of not being allowed. As I said, I did encounter Africanized. I've encountered that, and it is intense.
yeah,
So since we know those are invasive,
yeah.
and we know how that all happened, if we're not promoting propagating the healthy, docile colonies that we want to have here,
Hmm.
then these invasive species that are more aggressive and problematic end up taking over the ecology. We don't want that.
They can, uh, especially where you are. Waylon and I are further north in Illinois. What's nice about that is that Africanized bees don't survive up here.
hmm,
They're
Oh,
like some of their genetics can get passed on still. I'm not going to say that they can't, but like if I took a fully Africanized hive and brought it up here, one is that the state inspector would come out and check it out because they'd be stinging people, and they'd destroy it, and they would test it and they would destroy it. They probably destroy it first just because they're aggressive. But the other one is that they don't do well in our winters. Our winters are too rough, too cold. I mean, we were below zero for 2 weeks this year. They just
jeez.
don't manage that well.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
telling
I'm
me
in
there's
Inland Empire. It's like
nowhere in
if
the country
like
they could
3
survive?
years ago
No,
was
they
the
they
first
do
time.
survive with the countries further south,
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
like
16
Texas.
16 years in this house, it snowed at my elevation once
Right.
3 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, we can dip to freezing temps at night,
Right.
but yeah, it's not anything that would destroy them. Yeah, it stays warm here.
What does
Yeah.
Africanized mean? Like, does that mean is it this? Is it exactly the same as a bee that's
It's a
in Africa?
cross.
No,
It's a
so it's
cross.
really interesting. So Africanized bees are actually from Africa. This Apis mellifera africanus. So they're a subspecies of Apis mellifera, which is the honeybee. A guy brought them over because they're better at dealing with varroa mites.
Hmm.
And they had like 17 of the queens, I think, is what they had originally. And they were supposed to keep them enclosed and not let any of them go. And they weren't ever going to get away. And they got away.
That never
And then
works out.
and they spread all the way up through Mexico, up into southern United States, in Texas area. So they've spread. They spread. It took a few years to get around, but they spread. The drones are a little bit better than the other drones. They're faster. So the drones are male bees, and the bees mate in the air. So the male bees are faster than the other non-Africanized bees, so they spread more genetics more quickly.
Hmm.
And they're
And
also
they
more
can sting
aggressive.
multiple times like a wasp, right?
No, nope,
No?
they still
Okay.
can't sting. Only one sting. But what ends up
Okay.
happening is that they like you'll mess with the
Swarming.
hive, and they'll all leave. So my bees, if I went up and kicked my hive, I would not go up. I don't suggest anybody doing this ever.
No.
If I walked up and kicked a hive and made them real
You probably
mad,
wouldn't have to get that far.
and well,
We
and some
didn't.
if some came out, it's not that many that come out. Now it can build up if you stuck around and you continue screwing with stuff. You can like they really just want to chase you away. Africanized bees will actually empty out the whole hive. Like
Yeah.
everyone leaves, and they'll chase you a
Yeah.
much further distance than non-Africanized. And the other difference is that they're kind of they hold grudges. So with honeybees, you can jump in water and they'll lose sight of you, and they will leave. Right? They just kind of give up. They're like, oh, okay,
Problem solved.
we've
Yeah.
gotten some problem solved. Right? Africanized bees will sit at the surface and wait for you to surface so they can sting you. So they're way
I
more
had one
aggressive.
in my hair. I had to undo my braid. I was so terrified, and I'm not normally flapped, but I was like, and my brother and my nephew were just like, "What do we
Yeah,
do?" I'm all, "Are you kidding me? Get this
yeah,
thing off me!"
yeah.
So
They they
As
they
we're going up the
scream.
trail.
They
some.
scream when they're in your hair.
Ooh.
It's
Oh
like
my god, yeah.
it's really off putting for somebody, especially if you haven't ever had it happen before. They scream, and it's a really high pitched whine that can be really scary. They do the same
You
thing in
never
your
forget
ear.
it.
If they crawl in your ear, I've had them in my ear and I've had them in my nose. They all do
Wow.
the same thing. Uh,
Ugh,
No.
the scream. Ugh.
yeah,
There's some conversation about when they were talking about the pesticide. I guess vinegar. Some people are talking about industrial strength vinegar can be good for pests too. Of course, it's very smelly. Um, Someone else said, "Oh,
Yeah, high acidity, yeah.
yeah." Lila Rose says our county is where the Asian murder hornet is. Ugh.
oh,
Oh, yeah, those.
Like
so they might.
there's a killer bee, right? There's a killer bee somewhere.
That's the Asian one.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's a
So
hornet
those,
though. It
Murder
says.
hornet.
Okay.
yeah, murder hornets. The killer bees are the Africanized bees. The murder
Yeah.
hornets are the Asian hornets.
I
Do they
just
get
tend
Those
to
are
honey
not
from
call
killer
them
bees? I'm sorry,
I
from
don't call
Africanized
them
bees?
killer bees
yeah,
anymore because it's just such a dramatic
Yeah,
name.
this
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
little excessive. But the
yeah. The Africanized
Africanized,
bees,
they do make honey.
absolutely.
Do they
Yeah.
get
Oh,
honey
yeah,
from
it's
those in
good
Africa?
too.
Uh,
You can get
the
it.
you can. So Africa has
Sounds
Africa's
rough.
kind of strange. Yes, they use them in Africa for herding buffalo to keep buffalo or not buffalo elephants out of gardens,
Oh,
because
Wow.
elephants are smart enough to know that those are terrifying and I
yeah.
don't want to mess with them. So you line gardens with it, and so then you can use them as walls
And they're
for elephants.
pollinizing at the same time.
And
That's
they're yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, but
See,
don't
that's
they? But you
that's
said
a
they're
natural
aggressive.
technique.
they are
That's what I
Yeah.
would have,
aggressive,
that's approved. That's great, but it works there.
and you can
I
manage
mean,
them.
I see.
Yeah,
it's not a dense populace like what we have in the United States. Here,
yeah,
it's a bigger problem. You get
Hmm.
them
yeah.
into a neighborhood and, you
Last time I
know,
saw elephants get in my garden, I swear I thought. Okay. But yeah, no. I mean, you
I'm
can
getting the
definitely.
bees, man.
Well, it's like companion planning. I mean, that
Yes.
makes a lot of sense, especially like we have other kinds of pests here, like coyotes and like things that
Yeah.
we have to find ways around. And I don't think bees would do it for them. But yeah, that's interesting. I just imagine the guy in Africa that has to be the one getting the honey for everybody, and like, oh shit.
So you just use
I've
more
seen it.
smoke.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen people
Yeah,
collecting,
yeah.
and like people
More
who do
smoke
it in
makes
these
sense. Yeah.
more primitive environments, they just are so accustomed to it that it's like, oh, ow, they,
Yeah, you
they
just
get
use more
stung all
smoke
the
on
time.
them, and you manage them better. The ones that I visit in Mexico every year, I'm pretty sure those are Africanized. They're more aggressive. I can stand there and they'll come after me, which is usually an aspect of Africanized bees.
Mm.
Like I said, we
But
didn't do anything to this hive. We were
yeah,
just there, and we were not that close.
yeah,
But they decided we were too close.
yeah,
It
and well,
was like,
and you could have had really bad timing, right? You could have just followed up after a raccoon right, had been messing with it all night, and now they're like, anybody come close,
Agitated.
we're nuking anybody that walks close.
Yeah, that's pretty much because it
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, cool, there's a hive," we're just kind of observing, not even moving,
yeah,
and they were like, "You."
yeah, yeah.
"Sorry, my bad."
Yeah, and if you don't know bee behavior too, so bees communicate with you pretty clearly. If you're standing in front of a hive and you're looking at it, which is what predators do, right? I'm looking straight at the hive. I'm standing in front of it, watching the bees come and go. They'll come out and smack. They'll run into you. It's called
Yeah,
bumping, and they knock into you. Um, and they'll do that a few times before they're like, okay, I've had enough, and
yeah.
then they'll sting you.
That's what the one that ended up in my hair. It was
Yeah,
like and
yep,
then it got stuck, and I'm like, "Oh, no."
yeah, yeah.
Wood bees and ground bees. Well, ground bees, aren't there multiple kinds of bees that live in the ground?
For Illinois, just Illinois has about 4,000 varieties of bee. So yes, there's all kinds of. My favorite's the polystyrene bee. It lives near water and it makes a waterproof nest. They're iridescent green. But
Wow.
yeah, there's all
Huh.
kinds of bees out there that live in the ground. She's probably talking about the German yellow jacket, which I also have a problem with because you step on those nests, they come out and light you up.
My
The
dad, I told you about it before. My dad, we had one, and I thought we called it something else, but they were probably yellow jackets. But he would pour kerosene down the hole and light it up.
Mhm.
Like that was the thing people did. It's like, okay,
That's
You
what
don't
I
wanna
do
do
to
that
them
in
too.
California, though. We got a law against ground fires here because fires
hmm
will get into the tree roots and blow up the whole forest.
oh
Oh,
wow,
yeah, I
didn't
didn't
think
think of
about
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, my tribe actually has a traditional old recipe for
good
yellow
tie.
jacket stew. They
Oh,
actually would make a stew with the whole nest.
Ooh, I was just
I'm
gonna
not
ask.
into
I
that, but
I thought of that about half an hour ago. Can you eat bees? Like, could we harvest and like have a bee soup or whatever? I don't know.
I guess
yes.
yellow jackets you can.
So the Japanese have fermented honeybee larvae that you can eat.
The larva, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, but it totally blows my son's world up. I don't tell him that often, but like, you know what? Winnie the Pooh is a sham. Like, bees don't like honey. they
Bears, yeah.
they eat the
Bears,
larva. They're not eating the honey. You
yeah,
you taught me that, and I was like,
yeah.
that's so cool. Everybody thinks bees and or bears and honey. Like that's what everybody. It's just such a weird. But I'm sure they have to eat some of the honey. We talked about that last time. Like it has to be eaten to get some of that larva, but that's what they're looking for is the protein.
Yeah.
So they do the larva, but can you just eat a bee? I mean, obviously the stinger and the
Oh,
poison
yeah.
or the toxin and stuff might be a problem.
Yeah, it's not that big of a problem.
My brother was a Boy Scout, and that's where I found out that yellow jackets will dive into a boiling pot of stew.
Huh.
And they were not sitting there picking them out, they actually just stirred them in. I'm looking
Yeah.
at my plate going, "No, thank you."
They dive into the the hot stew.
Yeah, they're just looking
Well,
for meat. They're carnivores.
they
Ty
don't
says
have the
honeybees are an
self-preservation to
invasive,
go that,
but
like, they don't have a concept of that's going to kill me when I dive in. They're just like, "Ooh, there's meat in there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
is this right? Ty says honeybees are an invasive species.
So
I mean,
let's
they
let's
are kind of
define
if
it.
you think of yeah. I mean, depending
Yeah.
on where you
So
find them, I guess.
he's not wrong. They're not native to right. We talked about it earlier.
Right, right.
There actually was a honeybee here. I said it was
Non-native,
16,000, but it was 14 million years ago. But we did bring them
little
over.
difference. It's not just
Yeah,
just a little.
yeah, whatever. A couple zeros. uh, we did bring them over back in 18. I want to say 23 or 1623. And by 1800 they were actually here in Illinois. So invasive is actually a weird term, and it's heavily debated whether honeybees are now invasive or if they're naturalized, which means that they're not from here. However, they've carved out a niche in nature,
Right.
right? So, yeah, invasive. It's an ongoing debate, Ty. You're not wrong. They are not from here
I think that's what
technically.
he means. He just got here. So Ty, is that tell us what you meant by that? Because I think that's what he means is that they're not from here. But to like think of them as the same as we talked about that python, like it's not anywhere close because we have pollinators. We didn't have like so they had a place to fit into. You know what I mean? Like it was much
Yeah,
easier, I think, for them to kind of fit in there.
it was. It
And we
was
have to have pollinators to support the
Right.
well,
food
and
industry.
let's talk about the invasive species stuff a little bit too. When you go outside, as a thing for everybody listening, go outside next time and find your native species that are native to your area, and it'll be a real challenge.
Hmm.
There'll be a couple of them out there, but we have changed the landscape so much that we don't have a lot of native things anymore.
Right.
Um,
Like think about it in terms of people. Like we like how many, and I'm not trying to get down this argument, but like whether you like illegal or not illegal, we're talking about immigration a lot, and even people that are trying to stop illegal immigration are still talking about. RFK in that podcast brought up how um, the one way to bolster our loss in replacement, which birth rate is the immigration, and like by doing that, to your point, our country, like and it was like this for hundreds of years now, but it's just becoming more and more different, like everything, and not just the people, but stuff people bring here, and things that we build, all the things happening are basically bringing this land, if you want to put it like that, further and further away from being its, whatever you want to say, its natural self. From like where are they basing that from when you think of that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it 1,000 years ago? Is it 100
There's
years
a
ago? Like,
there's a definitive difference, and this is part of what he's getting at, I think, because I wanted to look it up to get the wording right because I couldn't
mm,
remember. But an invasive species is a non-native organism that spreads in a new area and causes harm to the environment, economy, or human health. So what we've got is beneficial pollinators. They're not destroying the
they still
well,
ecology.
compete. They still compete with native pollinators. So
Yeah,
he's not totally off base. The issue, if you
yeah,
look up naturalized, is a better definition for them.
hmm
yeah.
They're already here. They've already created a niche for themselves,
Yeah.
and yes, they still compete. Um, but again, the invasive species topic brings some weird things with it.
hmm
They're not our main problem.
Yeah.
Our flowers and our giant yards of grass, which are deserts to everything except for our eye, right? Those are the things that should be the focus,
hmm
right? Having a pollinator plot. If you guys are looking for something, xerces.com, xerces.com, excellent place to find pollinator information, and they do native pollinator stuff for you guys. And if you're
Okay.
worried about having honeybees and you don't want honeybees because you think they're invasive and they're causing problems, that's fine. On my website, I put a link to crown bees, which is probably the best um, native bee uh, environment stuff that you can make. So these are basically homes for bees, for bee safe habitats and things like that. And
Xerces.org.
yeah, xerces.org. Thank you. Yeah.
Xerxes. Okay, I was looking for it.
Yeah.
What was the spelling again?
I'll put it in the.
XERCES.
Got it.
So I can
Yeah.
find it.
So technically, Ty, you got a good point. Like uh, the invasive species, another interesting thing to look at is like where did that term come from and when did it actually crop up? Invasive species, largely, we talked about earlier, there's some species out there that we think were generally a benefit. We didn't really know well enough. Oh, there's a longhorn bee. We didn't really know well enough uh, to talk about them very intelligently, like as far as like what was brought in and what made a good big difference. Um,
Dabby was talking about how long the tongue is of the bee. Sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, and actually they have different length tongues depending on the type of bee. So
Huh.
that's a longhorn bee. That's not a honeybee.
Wow. Big one.
She's so long. Yeah, she's got great big long antennas. She too, because the girls are the ones that go out and do work.
Nice. I think I cut you off though. You were.
Oh, that's okay. Basically, I'm saying like it's a weird ecology is really fascinating and deep and strange, and we like to put things in boxes because we're people, but
Mhm.
but basically invasive species aren't great. I don't love inviting new species here, right? To change things, but at the same time, species that are already here and that are established, those are going to be naturalized, and we need to, unless we're going to go out of the way to wipe them out, which
I mean,
honeybees are so
there's
here anyway.
larger animals that are exceptions. For example, the Russian boar, quite destructive and dangerous. It's constantly open season on them for a reason.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
whole different scenario. They're destructive.
right.
I mean, we have natural things like deer that will overbreed, and to the point where we have to put out sort of pressure for hunters to kill more of them and
Yeah,
or cull the herds, I guess. So
yeah.
it's a thing. I mean,
That's why
humans
we have so
we call
many
ourselves.
we
So
have so
we
many
just,
mountain lions in California because they don't have any natural predators. There's too many in some
mm.
areas. You know.
Like, what
Um,
would happen if we weren't here and there were? I mean, obviously, people think that, I mean, the planet would survive without us, but if humans were all gone tomorrow, there would be this new, like a resettling of the table of of nature, and there would be more predators created
Nature
because
reclaims quite
right.
quickly. It doesn't
And
take long.
I was just thinking of like some predators that can overbreed or overpopulate and take over, but then if we weren't here to actually take care of that, nature would eventually. I mean, it would balance out.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Oh
species come and go.
We
yeah,
finally have, uh, there are 10, for those who don't know, there are actually 10 established wolf packs in the state of California.
Wolfpack.
And we
Oh, sorry.
finally actually have them in Southern California. They made it this far. There was a lone one that made it into my region. So yeah, they're coming back. It's kind of cool.
Hmm.
yeah. And they change the environment. That's the other neat thing, especially in Yellowstone. We're watching really closely how that happens.
Yeah.
How those wolf packs are basically there's, I'm not going to talk to it because I'm not going to do it justice. There's lots of
Yeah.
studies out there that are really neat to read about how they're changing elk populations and how that's changing all the environment. Very similar to what it used to be before we hunted them basically out of the area.
Yeah.
That's actually a
Great
good point.
video on that.
It reminds me of the dire wolf that we brought back. Evidently, I mean, obviously, it's got some other DNA in it that's not fully dire wolf, but that
I
makes
find
me
that
think.
terrifying.
Right. Well, right. But I wonder I'm sure it's happening somewhere. Where are the genetically engineered bees at, Luke? Tell us where are they making super bees at?
Oh,
Any,
so
is
you
there,
can guess. I'll give you a guess on
And are
what
they
company.
killer?
I'll
yeah,
give
like
you a guess on what company is trying to do that.
BlackRock, State
It's
Street, or Vanguard? Which one? I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry.
it's
Go ahead.
Monsanto Bayer,
Oh,
right?
Of
good.
course.
Yeah, Bayer
Yeah,
now. Hmm.
right. So and then the genetically and so actually how we got varroa mites is how we tried to genetically engineer bees. Like we took the Western honeybee and we brought it over to areas in Asia that had bigger honeybees. So there's different species, um, and we tried to crossbreed them and thinking that we could crossbreed them. And so then, and turns out that no, you can't crossbreed those. But the varroa mites, which developed with those bees, jumped over and said, "Oh, great,
Nice.
these guys are great." And so then they spread actually through the whole world. Now the last place they were not in was Australia, and they made it to Australia just
Oh
like
my
2 years
God,
ago.
Yeah.
dude, these mites.
So
This has been.
Yeah. It's like when you're trying to fix a problem, be careful how you go about it.
yeah, yeah, we're humans, right? And so we were like, oh, we cannot do wrong, and yeah, we do wrong all the time.
Well, a lot of times we think we're getting rid of pests, but basically a lot of the stuff we use, eventually, maybe for the short term, few years, maybe 100 years, but eventually things find ways to get a resistance to that.
Hmm.
One example for a lot of cannabis growers would be, what's it called, diatomaceous earth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We use that a lot, and there's a lot of pests that have developed ways around that and can bypass that. It's not as helpful as that used to
That's
be.
interesting
Now,
because
I you might go
it's
ahead.
not poison, the
No,
method,
it's
I'm
not.
surprised.
So
Wow.
maybe that means makes a difference, but that's just one example I know of that some people don't think it's doing as much help anymore because things are
Wow.
finding ways around it. And I mean, I don't know. There's probably other examples, like you said, with the mites we talked about before. They're kind of resistant to a
Yeah,
lot of things.
amatraz. There's all kinds of chemicals we use to kill them. Because imagine killing a bug on a bug, right?
Mhm.
It's hard. Um, yeah, and so
That's why
we
I didn't want to use a chemical on my, yeah.
yeah, and so there is still some organic acids that we can use that work pretty well. That at least for now, right? But
Mm.
there's constantly we're trying to figure out a way to get around the varroa mite. There's a new one out. It's called Nora, Norra, and it's a feed that you can give to your bees, and it actually will make the mites uh, infertile.
Hmm.
And so it's
Yeah.
really interesting how the
But like,
process
what
works.
else is it doing though? Like that's the first
Yeah,
thing you think of. Like,
this
what's
yeah, the scary
what
thing
is
is
the?
like what does it do? But it took I think it took 10 years to get through development to actually be able to be used. So it just got released. The other side of it too is like how do we make something and get it to market so that people can use it and still do the correct amount of testing to go, okay, this is actually okay. Like really it is like oxalic acid, which is organic acid. It took like 5 years after Europe had been using it for 10 years to
Mhm.
come to the United States. So there's some slow things that are an issue.
Well, you mean you can't just rush it out just because there's a terrible virus or anything? We can just say, never mind. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's a COVID reference there. But yeah, we definitely need to test longer. And I say that there is probably one thing I thought of when you were talking about trying to get rid of the mite was that, hey, don't we have countries like China and America that have developed bio weapons that can go after specific types of humans? Even I don't know if that's really if that's science fiction or if that actually is a story I read, but they're talking about being able to like go after specific races using like a race of human, like white, black, whatever, and actually being able to find genetic markers and use chemical warfare against specific people. And I don't know how far along that is, but if that ever actually is the case, couldn't we then use it on the mites? But then I thought against myself, and I thought, well, what kind of byproduct is that going to have? You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm pretty sure it's a thing. The genetic or the some of the bio weapons that are out there, they are coming up with things that they can attach to with genetic markers, but I don't think it's fully quite there. It just made me think of that, and then I was like, immediately took it back in my head, and I thought, okay, then you're gonna have some other issue like immediately.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
but we are getting close to the 2 hours. You can keep going as long as you want, but I do want to tell everybody we're going to spin the door prize pretty soon. Finish your thought though, Luke.
yeah.
Sorry.
So some of the genetic marker stuff is always super scary for me. I don't think it's out there. I hope it's not out there, right? Because especially since whether we want to admit it or not, a lot of us are mutts. I know I'm a mutt in my history, right? And I don't really want to like that's the stuff that like was the Black Mirror is made out of.
Well, the mites are probably
Those
the same
episodes.
way. They probably
Yeah,
have thousands of varieties, just like the bees, right?
there is some genetic changes in them. Yeah, that's why the Nora is really interesting for me because it does cause just hey I can't reproduce and therefore you're you die off. I didn't want to ignore Ty either. Ty had some
Sure.
really
Yeah, he's got some
neat
good stuff
points
in
in
there.
there. Yeah. So he's 100% true. That's true. The waggle dance is pretty freaking fascinating. It's
Is it like
actually not.
this?
That's it's, something like that. There has to be some steps in there in between.
Sorry.
Uh, but it's yeah. So they don't just use it for food sources. They have all kinds of dances that they use for communication, for actually like where to make a new hive and also for food and also for water, like all of the stuff they use these dances to communicate with each other. And remember, inside of a hive is dark, pitch black, so they
Mm.
can't see it, they don't see it. This which is why like that figure eight and waggle dance is felt through the hive. So imagine working your whole life, right, when you go to your jobs or whatever, when you're doing your work, you're doing it in the dark, blind, right? And you can
Wow.
and there's yeah, it's something that people don't think about.
It made me think about it when I watched this series called See, like the word see. I
Oh
forget.
yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but Jason Momoa was the main character, and it was a sort of post-apocalypse, of whatever 1,000 years from now, and it had. I think there was only 1 million people left on the planet. Everyone was blind. All people were blind, and it literally trips you out watching that first episode and watching the first few episodes. It makes you like, after watching it, you walk around thinking about being blind. Like, you just, like, everything you do, even though we have blind people around us all the time, it was just such a weird kind of angle in showing this whole society of people with that are blind. They all, like, they work together to do all these different. They have like ropes everywhere that they follow, and then instead of writing notes, they have a rope with knots on it, and the knots tell, like, to have a word value and stuff like that. Anyway, it's a side note, but it made me think of, like, what if I was blind? Even though you would think you'd have that thought before that point in life, but it was just very freaky. It was like a
Well, I used
whole
to,
armies, two armies were warring, Tala. They were all blind. It's crazy.
when we were kids, we used to play with blindfolds, just to see what we could do without
Mm,
being able to see. So, I mean, I have some like idea about it. Problem for me now is I couldn't do that kind of experiment now because I have some
mm.
balance issues with my health problems, my challenges, neurological, connective tissue, all of that. So, if I'm in a dark room, I'm quite vulnerable. I have to be very careful because I can't orient. So we're working on that in PT. But I am familiar, yeah, with the trying to function without using your eyesight. When I was a kid, I could kind of do it, but I've always been impressed with people like our friend Joy from Periscope. She's a blind live stream broadcaster. And I learned about voiceover. She's an iPhone user like me. I've learned about voiceover from her. Um, she's amazingly functional. She's been losing her eyesight since she was a child. It's almost completely gone now. She has a specific condition. But I watched her. She kind of hurt her wrist when she did it, but I watched her decide I want to see if I can still do a cartwheel because she was a gymnast when she was younger. She loved it. So I've seen what can be done. Um, but I have wondered about that, like, how much would that change my life? And I can't imagine an entire society like that. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. And
Ex-
and they're all related, remember, right? The queens laying 2,000 eggs a day. Those are all sisters.
Yeah.
And everyone and they we don't really understand how they know, but they do change their jobs as they get older through the hive. So that anytime you see bees outside in the world, those are the old ladies. So you can say hi to the old ladies who
huh.
eventually work themselves to
Right.
death.
Yeah, they were on they're on their final walkabout or whatever. Some tribes did that, and I think it's like it's a thing that you do with when you're in a society where you can't take care of the elderly. You just, like, go on one
Yeah.
final walkabout or whatever.
Yeah, they eventually will leave the hive and they can't just fly back. Their wings will wear out and or they get eaten, right? Lots of things eat
Yeah.
bees. We don't, uh,
Or
True.
on
and
someone's windshield.
or on
Yeah,
somebody's windshield.
that's
Yeah,
probably more likely than almost anything nowadays. The
yeah,
wind chill
Motorcycle
effect.
helmet visor.
Well, made me
yeah.
think of a question earlier. I was like, I wonder how high bees can fly. Like, is there a certain bee that flies even like the highest? I'm sure there's one
Oh,
bee over all the others that goes
actually,
higher.
I don't know. That's a great question. That's one I've never been asked in all my years because I invite people to ask me questions.
Hey,
So
all
hey,
right,
I'm stumped.
let's
I'm
go.
gonna go look.
I'm curious because I wonder, bees spend a lot of their energy because they have to their wings move so fast. But what if they were to develop the ability to go up high and then just glide like a like a bird does? Then they could go back and forth farther.
Alpine bumblebees. They
Um,
fly at yeah, and they fly at 29,527 feet, which
wow.
is higher than Mount Everest.
So they could be getting hit by airplanes,
Potentially, yeah.
sucked into
Yeah,
jets and things. Whoa.
A lot
yeah.
less of a problem on an aircraft canopy than it is on a motorcycle helmet visor, though.
And they
Ooh,
do flap their wings slower.
at the higher.
Yeah, because the air's thinner up there.
Yeah, so they wouldn't need to.
You know?
Huh. bumblebees are pretty like fluffy, so that but they're like I bet they're bigger but lighter than we think, like as far as weight goes. I think it's so cute seeing them fall asleep in a flower. I've never been fortunate enough to see one in person. I did one time, and I didn't know about bees at the time. I got it out of there. I was giving somebody a flower, and there was a bee hanging out inside. Well, I'm sure it was an old lady that was dying, and I didn't know. Uh, all right, guys, let's do this spin. If you want to follow Luke, please do. Go check him out on Facebook and check out his podcast if you want to really get into the nitty gritty of beekeeping. And I hope you will anyway. I mean, let's just try to let's go and show his podcast some love anyway, because it's important. Not because you know want to have bees. Ty said he wants to have bees someday, and he's not too far away. I wonder, maybe we could maybe you could get it done, Ty. Luke would help you set it up. Although
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, he
So,
might be a couple hours away. I don't know how far you go, but
relative to the ground, this was my curiosity, and I think that's kind of where you were going. So, most of them fly 3 to 20 feet above the ground, but their radar observations of bees flying at 100 to 200 meters or 330 to 650 feet.
Yeah.
wow.
So
Like,
they
how?
usually fly 30 feet off the ground
Yeah,
when they're going to locations. That 3 feet off the ground is as they're looking for flowers in an area.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Well,
But
you
yeah, as
told me
much as
this.
650 feet, that's high.
That
Oh yeah.
is. That sounds high, but you also told me this, and now ever since you said it, I almost wish you didn't tell me. But my son and I walk across, like we'll be walking the dogs, or even in my front yard where you have a lot of clover,
Yep.
and the clovers make these little flowers, which aren't necessarily pretty, and you don't really notice them because they all kind of blend into the ground. But you will, if you go and watch as you look at your feet as you're walking through the grass in a like clovery field, you will see bees all over the place that you never saw before looking down. And now I don't even walk my dogs through the field anymore because I don't
Oh,
want to. I'm
they'll,
afraid to.
you don't have to be worried about,
I don't
like,
want
if
to
you're
step
wearing,
on one and piss it off, and then it's going
if
to
you
come out.
step on it, it's gonna die. Like you weigh, like, I
What
don't
if I
remember.
kick it? What if I accidentally kick it as I'm walking?
They don't care. They
All right.
don't.
Eat
They really
it
don't.
like I
All
did with
right.
the wasp.
Like, now, if you have sandals on and they get stuck in your
Yes.
toes, then yeah, they're gonna get stuck in your toes and they panic, right? I'd panic if some giant squished
Right.
me between its toes. But yeah, like, they're not gonna come. It's not like they're vindictive and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go sting you. No, they don't. They don't do that. They might come fly back around and see what you are, because they're curious. But nah, they'll leave you alone.
Don't think about their relative size. The panic sets in. Little story about my brother as a scoutmaster. He finds his troop in the dark with flashlights, and in the middle of this circle is a frozen scorpion going.
Yeah.
And they're like, throw it in the fire, hit it with a stick. No, get a rock. They're coming up with throw it in the river. They're coming up with all these crazy ideas. And he walks up and he goes, guys, you know what you do when you find a scorpion in camp? And they're like, what do we do? And he reaches over with his boot and goes, crush.
You, you eat it. I thought you was gonna eat it.
It's just they were like, throw it in the fire, throw it in the river, all these crazy things. And he's just all step.
Yeah.
Here, I got something for you from Dabby in the chat here. She's got this picture that she said she was excited to show the guest here. Now this is a video, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, this is one coming out and getting water. I'm sure. I can already see
Tongue.
it.
She said it's got some tongue action. Yeah.
Yeah. Their proboscis is amazing.
Yeah.
Whoop.
And I keep little shallow dishes in my garden for them with stuff that they can climb on so they don't drown.
Yes, I think was that you that posted somebody had posted a picture of like different ways to put things in there that allow.
It wasn't me, but I've been doing that for a long time. Because
Yeah.
I have an ash tree that flowers, and they will swarm into that tree for, collecting. And like I've taken video, you can hear them. It's amazing. So I
Yeah.
always make sure there's water.
Yep,
Yeah,
there's
that's the
the proboscis. That's their tongue, and which is smaller than most bumblebees. So, like, we have different kinds of clover here. You talked about the Dutch clover or the white
Yeah.
clover. There's the red clover, like that purple stuff. and that's longer. And honeybees don't really use it; they can't get down to the nectar. But
Oh,
bumblebees love it, and they do a good job of it.
Yeah.
bumblebees have a longer tongue then. Hmm.
Yeah,
Or what do you
yeah,
call
We
it? What you call it?
unfortunately have sorrel,
hibiscus.
otherwise known as sour grass, with the
Uh huh.
little yellow
Hmm.
flowers, which they love, but it's problematic because it's invasive and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And if you don't cut the sorrel before it flowers, you get more bulbs, so it takes
Oh,
off. But the bees love it.
yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for, like I said, that Xerces that we shared earlier, if you're looking for native species, those are great. There's the lead
Yeah.
plant here in Illinois. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. Um, you can plant like a tree. There's the bee tree, which is the American linden. That one's native to our area.
I have
Excellent,
rosemary.
excellent. Yeah, rosemary, excellent. Mint is also, I think, native, or maybe catmint or catnip.
Well,
Mint
I'm
gets
not
Catnip.
crazy.
sure because there's so many types of mint, and mint is one of those things that will spread like an invasive plant, so
It,
you do have
it
to be
will. So
careful.
that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
If you're going to plant it, don't put it on the
Yeah.
ground. Put it in a planter.
Yeah, my mint
Oh,
is in a.
catnip is
On
not native to
concrete,
North America.
preferably.
Yeah.
Catnip's not from North America.
Nope,
Huh.
that's from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East.
And there's different varieties of catnip, in fact.
Yeah. So some
Some
species of
cats
mint
will
are
like
is
one and
native.
not another. Yeah.
Right.
Something I wanted to talk about before we get going is honey. This is kind of important to everybody listening. We talked about it before, but I'll bring it up as much as I can because there's a lot of store-bought honey that is not honey anymore. So you guys need to get to your local people. Go to your local farmers market. Find a local beekeeper. Find local sources for some of this stuff because they tested a bunch of store-bought honey, and there's a whole bunch of just corn syrup in it, high fructose corn syrup. Like it's not really that. Like there might be some honey in it, but there's not much honey in there. And then secondly, on a less conspiratorial note, your local honey. What do they say? 100 miles? Is that 100 miles considered local honey
Yeah.
for to you, or at least
For
if it's
allergies, yeah.
right for allergies? That's what I was getting
That's
at.
what
Is
I
like
do.
I have allergies, and I eat the local honey from Riverview Road Apiary. That's like right like a few miles, like maybe half an hour from me.
Yeah.
So it should be it should be good for the old allergies.
It's a
Well.
little difficult for me now because I stay in ketosis most of the week.
Mhm.
Oh, good
And
night,
then, like, I
Rose.
had this cold, and it was the check and balance of I could do honey for the cold, but the flip side is I'll pull myself out of ketosis, and I'm finding that the ketosis lets me heal faster. So I just haven't touched it, but I probably will today because we've got the warm weather. The allergies are making the problem worse. So it's kind of like, but
Yeah.
I do
If
buy from a local place. Yeah.
sore throat is great for honey and a sore throat really go well together. And then
The cinnamon.
cinnamon, yeah. I personally, with honey, if I'm sick and can't sleep, just a nip of whiskey and some honey and some
Yeah.
cinnamon is pretty nice. Also,
Nice.
just as long as we were talking about stuff before.
Sure.
You guys are really interested in food and how our food's created and is managed. There's a series on Netflix called Rotten, just Rotten, ROTTEN. It's 2 seasons long. The first episode of the first season is about honey, specifically about
Okay.
honey. So that's
Okay.
really good. It's really a good one to see.
Yeah, I think Rose had said something about a documentary earlier in the chat about climate change, and it's like, well, whether you think it's something that's man-made or not man-made, or whether it's some kind of existential threat or not, the study of our climate and the study of our ecosystems, like you were saying, they'll study those wolves as they're coming in. They're not trying to necessarily control it, but we do have to sort of keep an eye on things as things change over time. And whether you're an alarmist or someone who's bought into whatever propaganda, knowing that we do make an impact and keeping an eye on ourselves as much as we do our neighbors. I think we need to get back to the worry that we had in the 80s, back when the Planeteers were a thing. Captain Planet, it was pollution. It was pollution.
It
It wasn't
was
cow farts. It was like the sludge guy. There was a sludge guy, and there was like actual pollutants. You know what I mean?
I was one of those kids out collecting cans with my mom to recycle to save the
Oh,
planet, yeah. We
that's a
got
good
money
point.
for it though, so
Tala, I actually just read about this yesterday. I got this in the mail. about a new initiative, a green initiative program for recycling. And I thought it was
Mm,
going to be some BS, but actually there's a whole like there's all these resources for local places that will recycle different types of things. So you can
okay.
take like, and so I get like, that's kind of a cool initiative. Like there's stuff on this list that I didn't know I could recycle, that's kind of damaging to the environment, like fluorescent bulbs and old
Yeah, those are a
batteries,
problem.
stuff like that.
I refuse to buy them because I can't use them anyway. I'm photosensitive. Yeah.
I've been a little jaded on the recycling because I've heard about a lot of bad things about it, like like it's not real, like there's a lot of things that
Some
not
places
actually
it's a complete lie. Yeah.
they don't recycle because it actually costs them more to recycle some things. There's a whole list of issues like that, but I think this is at least
But with
oh
plastic,
that's
I want my deposit back.
this is Luke. Maybe we could work together on this. It's actually saying I forgot where it was in here. It's talking about there's money to be made. You know what I'm saying? They're
Oh,
talking about giving out
We'll use
local.
that.
They're funding local initiatives for this. And if you, where did I see this at? Um, Basically for like composting and local uh, information. No, no,
That's
no.
something else that I do. I actually have a set of composting boxes that I made out of tough totes and just drilled holes in the bottom. And I don't just use plant material. I also put red worms in there, so it's vermiculture.
hmm
So it says the Tazewell County Solid Waste Plan. Okay, 5 areas of focus have been implemented in the program that may provide incentive dollars, bing bing, to jumpstart community organizations and businesses to begin or expand recycling and composting.
Huh.
I mean, if I could, maybe we could like get a local handful of friends and maybe start our own organization that we could
Right.
use to connect to anything. I mean, it can connect to your business, my business. It could really be like just a nature, like a general collective of people that want to help the environment. I don't know.
Make a
It's
difference.
yeah, make a
Yeah.
difference. Kind of cool. It's something I just read about yesterday on the
I
show. But
already had that series bookmarked in Netflix, by the way, so I already stumbled across it at some point. Rotten. It's
oh,
in,
Yeah.
it's
okay.
on my bookmarks. Yeah.
I swear I've heard the name of it. Oh, you sent me.
Yeah. I haven't
This
This is
watched
is
it yet, but it's in there.
that's your handout, I think.
it's wanting me to put a pin and stuff in. What the heck? Facebook Messenger and their attempt to I don't know, encrypt Messenger. Okay, here we go. I got it.
Right? That's it. I think this is it.
Yep, that's basically very
Oh,
similar.
okay.
Recycle Coach, Recycling Guide. This is not the exact same, but
Okay.
direct disposal location. Where's this from? Let's see.
This
This
is
is
Tazewell
our area.
County.
Yeah, okay. It's the same county, but I guess it's just a slightly different. This is similar for the inside, but I didn't see any of this. This is the same exact thing I read, but then this whole list here I've not seen. Interesting. But anyway, everybody out here, we got people from all over the country and some outside the country. Find a local initiative if you think. Obviously, a lot of the problem with recycling is it's time consuming. But if you think there's something that is worth getting rid of, that's got some hazardous potential to it, then definitely look it up. Because I have bulbs that I'm still sitting on because I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't want to throw them in the garbage.
Yeah.
The fluorescent bulbs. Okay,
Yeah.
so before we do the spin, though, guys, let me quickly tell you. Someone's calling me from somewhere. I can't take that right now. Sorry. But I do want to tell you guys a little bit about Rumble Wallet before we do the door prize. Rumble Wallet is a Rumble, obviously, initiative to create a system separate from the banks that you can actually buy into using cryptocurrency, but also you can buy physical gold. I think silver too. I'm not 100% sure, but they use Tether Gold, and it puts your real gold on a blockchain. It's a little bit more complicated than what this ad can tell me, but definitely look into it. There's a QR code on the screen. It says through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verified by serial number, purity, and weight. So this isn't just buying, stock of gold or, paper gold or whatever. This is actually using the connection between crypto and gold and kind of solidifying it a little bit. There's no permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. Banks can't cancel you this way, and you can use this to actually tip Rumble creators directly from the Rumble wallet. So it's kind of a cool new initiative. It says you can buy, sell, or move up to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. Which is, I mean, that's a benefit to anybody that's already into gold. But yeah, Rumble, thank you for the 45 cents. Now, if there's anything, I mean, I definitely want to let you continue speaking if you have anything, but I don't want to hold you up either too much longer, Luke. If we want to do any more shouting out, do that, and otherwise, guys, definitely follow him because this is a never-ending thing, and he's fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I would just say if your takeaway is nothing else from this whole episode, one is get involved with your local government, right? Because that's what this was really about. Was hey, we're trying to change an ordinance in Chillicothe, and two is find your passion, and follow that, right? Let's find one that goes through and maybe change. Doesn't have to be a big change in the environment. Doesn't have to be a huge change in the world, but just find your passion and chase it down.
Yeah, you don't have to be a quote unquote tree hugger, but we can realize how important everything is, including the bees. Like I keep telling people, I've been doing this for 5 years now almost, and I tell people all the time, I'm not a plant guy. I'm not a green thumb. I'm not. I don't have a love for plants. What I have is a realization of how important it all is, including our environment, pollinators, all the wildlife, everything, down to the microbiology that we're destroying. How important it all is just like, I mean, everything builds off of that. Literally everything builds off of the fact that we all got to eat. Like there's not one thing in life that doesn't come from like start there. And so everything I do is kind of connected to that in many ways. All right. I thought I had another point in that, but I guess I'm doing too many things at once. All right, we're gonna start the spinning though, guys. If you got to be here to win, I don't see anybody in the chat that I haven't added already. So, like Kyle, did I add you? I think I added you, but we'll see. There you are. I see it, Kyle. I always want to put an R on the end of Kyle's name, Kyler. All right, shot time. Luke, when's the next podcast?
This week we'll be recording this week. It'll be put out next week. We every 2 weeks we release an episode, usually on Wednesdays.
Have you ever thought about doing it live? Do it live.
We've thought about it. We just haven't done it yet.
It's a leap. It's a different thing. And
different beast.
Even, I many times today I even did a live stream where no one was there, and I was like, well, that's pretty sad. But if you're somebody who uploads, you're not thinking about that. You're just looking at those view counts later, like a month later, like, okay, people watched it. For me, I'm like, well,
where's everybody? I'm intimidated by the idea of live podcast, even though I'm a live stream broadcaster of 10 years. Not having the visual is weird.
Right. Well, okay, I see what you're saying. I guess so. Luke, did you think I meant live audio or live with the video?
I thought just live audio and video. I wasn't sure.
So to your point, Tala, that is interesting. I don't know if they do they have any live just audio? I guess our spaces are like a live podcast.
Yeah,
it used to be radio call-ins, right? Radio call-ins used to be live.
Yeah,
are you here, Ty? Yeah, I don't have any examples, but I guess you can. Most podcasts nowadays, they also throw a camera on just because like I used to watch a lot of listen to a lot of talk radio, and a lot of talk radio hosts started adding cameras before the podcast got big. Do you remember that? A lot of them, like Rush Limbaugh, had a camera for a while before he passed. Like that was crazy. Every now and then you'd be able to, or you go to their website and you get access to their camera or whatever. It was kind of a
some of us use the audio from video, just dual purpose, but you got to be thinking about it because I'm a very casual live streamer, so I may have conversations with people in the chat. That doesn't translate well to use the audio for.
Nope.
Yeah,
no.
That's not going out on the RSS feed.
No.
That's true.
And I spend about 4 to 6 hours editing podcasts before I get them sent out. So
I am lazy. I don't want to do all that. I've done a lot of editing.
I do just to make it concise. Like if I've got 2 hours of something, I want to cut it down. I try to edit out ums, uhs, long pauses, to make it so that people are not their attention isn't dropping off when they're listening.
You ever see
Absolutely.
these videos now where it's like jump cut, jump cut, jump cut? Like it seemed like they edited so much because it just keeps pop, 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 pop. Like every time they
I
say anything, it's edited again. I'm like, wow, I notice
I
it,
make
but
sure
most
that
people
it's
don't.
smooth.
Well, regular
Yeah.
people are watching, they don't mind. They think it's better because everything's so smooth. But for me, I want to see that authenticity, right? That's why I like it live. It's a
I don't
little
want mine to
less.
sound unnatural. I'm very careful
Yeah.
with that.
Like, what did you
Yeah,
cut
I
out
am
of
too.
there? Like, well, like what was it that you cut out? I don't know. Did you mess up? Well, I want to know that you're human and you're not just perfect. There are some shows though, live video shows. They don't. They're too big. They don't look at the comments. Like, there's no chat happening, so they just have to keep talking. And
Well, also,
Timothy,
like
Tala. Oh,
if
Tala.
I'm if I'm capturing audio from, say, a space and somebody dropped an F-bomb, I'm gonna kinda clip it where
Cheryl.
it's not obvious, like, you can tell
Cheryl
there was
H.
something there,
Hmm.
but I don't want it to be fully audible because I'm just trying to respect my podcasting listeners, you know?
Yep.
If you
I
have
do
it
the same.
inside in house and you have a producer that's switching cameras from one face to another when they're talking, that's where you that's where you cut. Whenever the switch was happening, uh,
Yeah.
uh, Cheryl, I forgot the last name, H something. She came in and said very interesting. So I put you on the wheel, Cheryl. Are you still here? I don't recognize the name. Cheryl Howard, thanks for coming in. If you're here, you get to win the door prize. If you're not, we'll spin it again. This is unusual. Spin a few times today. I think we had a
Paging
lot.
Cheryl H.
We had a lot of extra tagging and sharing today. I appreciate it, guys. We have 50 people in the house right now, so that mostly from Tala. Thank you for sharing us over on X. Got a few views. X has changed something recently, though. I think they've actually put live streams into like an algorithm now. It feels like more people are popping through. Even
Yeah,
there's
articles get
something.
more of a boost as well. So I'm going to start writing articles. I'll probably just like what I write. If it's a public Substack post and not behind the paywall, then I'll post it as an article too. If it's 1,000 words or more, that is, those get a boost.
A
Yeah,
thousand words. Wow.
So I
I
also
post like that
have
anyway.
I have recipes and things like that on my website.
Oh, nice.
For people that want, they're like, hey, I've got honey and this. I've done normal things with them, but there's some good ones. The honey lemonade, I think I took off.
Ooh,
Um,
what? Why?
I
Why did
know.
you get rid of it?
Well, I got
What?
rid of it because I'm refining the recipe to be better.
Too obvious?
Right. Like, what did you think was lacking?
It wasn't. The honey came through nicely, but
Kim.
it was not quite. I have a sweet tooth, and I think it was too sweet for most people.
Uh, well, you come up with
Like I
two
said, I
different
don't eat a lot of
varieties.
sugar because I
Yeah.
mean, honey will throw you right out of ketosis. You have to be careful.
Oh,
So
yep.
yeah.
That's true. Brenda, are you here? I have to lower the
But once in
time.
a while is okay.
I have this sitting at a minute. That's way too long. Just lower this. Brenda's not here, so we will make it less than, well, like 20
Right,
seconds.
everybody go.
Well, I mean, that's typical. Starts to drop off. I do actually have a pretty high retention rate, but for a high retention rate is like a minute. Like, if someone hung out here for a minute, that's actually really good.
Interesting.
Vine and TikTok did that to us.
Yeah, like, 'cause you can look it up in the average view times and all this and that. And if you have somebody here for 3 minutes or a few 3 to 5 minutes, that's very, very good. Like,
Dabby
they
L.
actually really liked the conversation. Dabby's here. I know she's here. I'm seeing her comment right now.
There you go.
Was watching TV today. This guy was giving hints on how to tell if the video
Aging
was AI or
Dabby
real.
L.
The main thing was if it's a person, make sure you look at their Adam's apple because AI doesn't move the person's Adam's apple. I can tell without that. I think I have sort of a.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
There's a general. I don't even know if I could put it into words, but usually this definitely if the person's looking at the screen and doing this like speech to you, like a lot of times that's AI now, and then also you can hear it in the voice. There's a lot of other things that you can see like stuff will go through each other like I don't know you could go on and
Well, I
on but
caught one this morning, and it was a fine post acknowledging military canines, And there are some that they do jumps,
Hmm.
but the visual was wrong and I knew it because they don't put a canine that's going to jump out of an airplane with you in a regular walking harness where it's dangling from its armpits and straight up and down in front of the soldier. They're in a body encasing cradling type of harness and crosswise when you jump out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this going, that's not, no. So I had one of the LLMs look up for me to show what it looks like, and I posted the pictures for them.
And it's
Totally
funny
busted them
because
for it.
you find it and it's like so like obviously fake, a lot of them, and there's 169,000 likes on it. I'm like,
That's what made me
what?
mad. Look, they're monetized.
What?
Just admit that it's AI. That's all you got to do. Just be honest with people. They're monetizing off something, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're so brave." I'm all, but the visuals are a lie.
Right. I
Just
wonder
tell the
if
truth.
it must be that these are big accounts that were already big, and then they started jumping into the AI bandwagon because they have the reach. Anyway, we don't need to
And
go
why
down
is
there,
their
but yeah,
account
it's
big?
just they were big from
Well,
doing other things, stealing, and like all the other stuff that they did
Bots.
before AI, bots, buying, all of that probably got them there, and then now all they have to do is post AI after they
Yeah,
like, once it came out, and boom, you're
well,
good.
it sticks
remember
to
this
my
is the
craw,
worst.
obviously.
This is the worst that AI is ever going to be, too.
Yeah,
Right now.
Yeah. Actually, I
this is
disagree. There
popular.
there is a theory about AI actually degrading because of all. And we're talking about AI as one thing, but it's all these different programs that they're saying will degrade because they're putting stuff out there that's all weird and wrong, or at least in the beginning. And now the other AI is like is like consuming that like it's information, and then they
Yep.
just keep consuming this like distorted information until it starts. Suppose I don't know if
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen, but that's a maybe a good
This is
outcome. I don't know. Maybe that would be
this
a
is
good
the
thing.
issue with using an LLM for research. So my buddy Archer, he's one of my fellow
See you,
creators
Tim.
from the other platform I was on. He said never use one. He uses three. Three. He says three minimum. So he's using Grok, ChatGPT, and something else. I don't know if it was Claude. You got to be careful with that one. But the problem is the LLMs are going to the internet for the information that the other LLMs they're consulting with each other through the web, really. And so the misinformation out there is misinforming all of them. It
Yeah.
becomes a bigger and bigger problem.
Right.
So,
I think it'll be to Luke's point. I think it'll be more centralized. Like you'll have AIs made in certain systems instead of
yeah.
being just like blanketed across all internet, all information. Anyway, I don't know. We'll
I don't
see.
know,
I mean,
checks and balances are needed.
well, and here's the truth of it. It's probably gonna be some good, some bad. As it
Yeah.
unfolds, like some good, some bad, just like everything else, right?
See, we
I
still
try not
need
to
to
get too
use
freaked out.
this.
Yeah.
If we don't learn and retain. Like what I tell people is, I'm not the Google it girl. However, when someone tells me, "Well, where's your proof?" or, source or what, I'm like, "Look, you've got a device in your hand with access to the entire knowledge of the history of the planet. Use it, but also use this." So, if you know that something is wrong, let's say you're consulting with Grok. Tell it you got this wrong. This is what I keep telling people. ChatGPT, same thing. I will call it on the carpet. No, that's wrong, because I already know this fact. And ChatGPT is more likely to say, "You're right. Thank you for pointing that out." Grok is going to find a way to angle. It's got a personality that's,
I've had to
yeah,
correct it, and it'll be like, oh, you're right. I'll make a
it'll
correction for
lie.
that. Yeah.
Grok lies. I
Look at
caught that
this.
early.
This is the only creature that has a tongue longer than a bee. It's this thing right here, and if I put my hand there, it comes out immediately. Whoop, 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 whoop.
What about the Chihuahuas that have the ugly ones with the?
He's Chihuahua, Pomeranian, and Wiener Dog all put
Yeah, but
together.
that's
That's
not one of the
Yep.
ugly ones.
nah. He's kind of
I mean
cute.
the
He's
ones
got
with
some
like
hair,
the weird hair and the
I
tongue
remember him as a
hanging out.
puppy. He's
scraggly.
tiny.
Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
barely bigger than my foot.
He doesn't feel very big, but he definitely was much smaller. It's like,
Yeah.
anyway, well, let's wrap it up. My son's gonna be here in about 10 minutes. So, Luke, I appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely wanted to like raise. I guess it wasn't as big of an emergency as I thought. I was thinking it was something. some kind of new thing, but it does sound kind of weird and messed up, and I think it's good for people to hear about it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It is kind of an emergency because we're ignorant to what's out there, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
true.
and stuff needs to be the stuff that needs to change. We need to know how to change it. So both of those reasons, right? Like if we have something we want to change, let's learn how to change it, and we need to know what's actually active in our laws, stuff that makes sense or doesn't make sense,
Stop.
uh, and how do you go about making a difference in the world instead of sitting back and being a victim, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Or just sitting back and being alarmed by everything and not actually looking into solutions and actually maybe helping with those solutions if that's even possible
And if
for
it
you.
doesn't get addressed somehow, I mean, this is how bad laws take hold.
yep,
If we don't push back, then it just gets worse.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I do hope that you can get that in there, and I want to check out the library setup too. That kind of sounds fun, and maybe even try to get over there this Friday for that meeting. So
At
that's
the the Heart of Illinois Beekeeping Club, the Farm Bureau.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I've never
if
been
it's
there.
local,
So
you guys can come. It's a good time. Although this week we're going to be talking about dead bees, so
that's okay.
you still learn some stuff.
Well, I mean, I could do a whole review out of it. I've never been to the Farm Bureau, and I think that in general will be a good trip for me
Yeah,
because I tried to go back when COVID was a thing, and I just like farmers didn't want to, they couldn't, and they
yeah.
had them closed down a lot of times too. I was actually selling fire extinguishers during that time. This is a $900 fire extinguisher.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And
Okay,
that would
I can explain why.
all
This
right.
fire extinguisher is better than any fire extinguisher that is required by OSHA
Oh,
by like miles. Okay.
it's
really?
not Halon,
Um,
is it?
no,
Because I
it's not
think they outlawed
Halon.
that.
No, it's not Halon. It actually has a proprietary mix or chemical mix that that this company, AKE Safety Equipment, they would not give it to the government, and so therefore they aren't allowed to be OSHA approved. But
Oh,
what they do is they get around that by they sell to farmers, and they even sell. Okay, one big example is they sell to Bush's Baked Beans. Bush's Baked Beans still has all the OSHA approved fire extinguishers, and they buy this also. And this is actually what they use because a few things. This does not hurt the food. It's a
oh,
gas. It's not. It doesn't spray. It doesn't put anything on the food. Actually, everything's fine. So when you put the fire out, everything's still okay. You're still fine. But if you put a fire out with fire extinguishers that's got all the foam and all the other stuff in it,
Product loss.
everything's gone. Everything's lost. And so what this does is the gas inside of it basically, once it turns from a liquid to a gas, it spreads out very fast. Like it basically
smothers.
it pushes all oxygen out of the area like quick. Like it
Huh.
also runs to
Well, that's what
it's
Halon
cold.
did, but it's a different method then. That's interesting.
Yeah, again, I don't know the specifics of what's in it because they wouldn't. I mean, but they gave me one. It's full. They give me one for free. I didn't
What's it
pay for
called?
anything. I didn't. It wasn't even. It was kind of a pyramid scheme, except I didn't have to
Um,
buy anything to sell. You know how like makeup
Yeah,
company you have to buy it all and then you have to sell it. I didn't
yeah.
have to do that. I just had to have the time and my own gas to drive places and try and sell it. What's what called the it's AKE Safety Equipment is the name of the company, and of course they're owned and operated by firefighters, and so they took this logo. It's kind of like makes them look like a firefighter
Yeah.
company.
Cool.
huh.
But anyway, I could list like it's got this like trigger handle, so you can actually aim and point. That's just a tiny thing, but then it's refillable. It's got a pull pin like a
Wow.
grenade, and this it's refillable and it's pressurized. This will never have a problem. Like regular fire extinguishers, you have to shake them. Some of them, like there's different kinds, but some of them you have to like check on them once in a while. Like you do checkups. I worked at the hospital. We had to check fire extinguishers all the damn time. This one you don't have to do that. It's all pressurized. That you don't mess with it. You don't open it. Um, anyway, there's a whole bunch of like there was like 10 different things that it's better than other fire extinguishers then. So it's just that's why it's expensive. Is
Huh.
because
Yeah.
it actually works
Yeah.
versus like when you go to a fire
Yeah, I'm
extinguisher
I'm
that's been sitting
curious,
for
like, if
years.
it's the same thing that's in those halon ones, which I've seen demonstrated, but, like, anything that displaces oxygen, naturally, you have to be kind of careful with
Oh,
it.
it's
It's
danger. It has
very
danger for
effective.
sure. Yeah, yeah. But
So effective, though, it's fabulous. Yeah.
They have some online videos of like the test where like with a like one thing they test a lot of times firefighter or fire houses will test a burning car, because a burning car can get like really, really hot, melting metal and everything
Yeah.
inside there. And yeah, boom, puts it out like nothing, because it also trickles to the hot, like it's cold, so it moves towards the heat wherever the heat is, and then just expands. It's all gone. We did
It's
this cool
amazing.
test. I would do a cool test for people, and I'm not a bad salesman. I've been in sales before, but and I was behind this all the way. I was like, this is such a good thing. Why would not people not want it? Like, we need to sell. It was like not just a thing that's fun or cool to sell, but a thing that seems like needed, right? And people just like, at the time was COVID. People didn't even want to talk to you. They didn't want to come out of the house. This one person doxed me online. It was like, this guy was around my house, knocking on my house and knocking on my shop. And it was in like this local town that I'm not even in. And someone else sent me a screenshot of it. And so I joined that local town's Facebook page so that I could comment on it. And I was like, hey, so and so, I was just out to tell you about fire extinguisher. Da, da, da. You want to talk about it anytime? Let me know. I did the whole thing. And of course, no response to that. It's funny. Anyway,
Of
I'm
course.
rambling. I'm rambling. We got to go. But
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Luke and Tala. We can always revisit again at some point. I'm sure we will. But we'll see you guys later. Tala, guys, go follow her on the First Light Warrior on Facebook, and go check her out on X doing spaces. I popped in the other day on one. It was a little past my bedtime when you guys were up, so I just kind of fell
Yeah.
asleep to it. But it is still good though. It was good information. Met some new people. We'll see you guys later. I think we've done enough promoting. Remember, everybody's got to eat, and so we need each other to do that. We can use technology, we can use community, we can use social media to make this happen. We'll see you tomorrow for people in the boxes at 8 o'clock Central Time. The topic is writing, which is going to be like, I think it's going to be great. I've been excited all week for this topic because everyone has to write stuff. So there's going to be some interesting stories coming out about it. Luke, we need to have you on sometime for that show, because we play a game now where we pull up stories at random from the people who are on screen.
Yeah.
None of the people on screen know whose story is whose. And we play this game where we got to figure out whose story is whose, and everyone's you're kind of bullshitting if it's your story. I wouldn't do that. What do you mean, bees? What bees? I don't know. And then you just like, it's fun. We get into the topic. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Where's my outro? Peace, guys. Thanks again. Love you.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer. Check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm Waylon the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro setup, my LED lights. Growing all my greens, all through the night. Self-sustain, that's the mission. Growing my own, I'm not missing. Indoor farming, the hustle's real.